in sports.
Now, baseball's second season begins. The Dodgers, the champions of the National League West, up against the Cardinals, the champions of the Central. Game 1 of the National League Division Series. With falling temperatures come rising hopes, the passion, the pressure, the change of seasons. It's all part of the charged atmosphere of baseball's postseason.
I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Oh Lord, oh Lord.
Finley hits a grand slam, and the Dodgers have won the West.
And they won it with their signature style, the comeback. It's been 16 years since their last postseason win, but led by MVP candidate Adrian Beltre, LA's long wait may be over. Success has been in the cards for St. Louis all year. The most wins behind the game's most potent three-punch. Add some surprising pitching to the mix, and magic was the result. The regular season was then. The future, long or short, good or bad, begins now. Welcome to ESPN's coverage of Major League Baseball's Division Series, presented by Budweiser. Game 1 of the National League Division Series. The Los Angeles Dodgers, champions of the West. The St. Louis Cardinals, champions of the Central Division. Hello, everyone. I'm John Miller with Joe Morgan, and everybody here is excited. We're excited because this is where it all begins in earnest. 8 teams got through, and now the Dodgers, who were one of the last teams to get here, and they're hoping to continue on with their remarkable season. Odalis Perez up against Woody Williams. But when you think of these two ball clubs, Joe, I mainly think of those sluggers. And the Dodgers have some sluggers of their own, guys like Shawn Green and, of course, Steve Finley and Adrian Beltre.
Well, I think the key to this success of the Dodgers will be how well Beltre handles all of this pressure that's put on him. Steve Finley's been here before. He's a big game player. We know what he can do in the clutch, so we're not worried about him. If you're the Dodgers, you have to worry how they're going to pitch to Beltre and how they're going to handle him. Beltre is, in my opinion, the most valuable player in the league, so I think that he's going to be the guy that's under the microscope. And also, Shawn Green can add a lot to this lineup, but those are the keys.
All right, so the Dodgers have their own sluggers. They hit over 200 home runs, but nobody is quite as potent as these Cardinals, not in the National League anyway, and especially the big three of Pujols, Rolen, and Edmund, Jim Edmonds, all with MVP credentials.
Well, you're right, John, and they also added Larry Walker to this mix. I mean, Larry Walker is one of the better hitters in the league, but what separates this group from all the other groups, I think this is the best hitting group in baseball. What separates them is that they can handle good pitching. We know that a lot of teams can handle mediocre pitching. These guys can handle good pitching, and you better be on top of your game when you go out there to face them.
All right, now in St. Louis, people are a little concerned about the Cardinals pitching. Carpenter's out, and Woody Williams making this game 1 start, not Matt Morris. Let's go to Gary Miller about that.
John, they had 4 15-game winners. They could have gone any number of directions, but Matt Morris has been their horse for this postseason run for the last 5 years. We asked Tony La Russa what's wrong with Morris this year and why go with Woody Williams in game 1.
Matt has experienced some crankiness, and there's times he hasn't felt as good as other times. And this takes some of the risk away from him and from us, because he'll get ready for 1 start. If he got 1, and if we play 5, now we got to worry about 2. Woody is the best he's felt here. I mean, he's really gotten stronger and healthier as the season's progressed. And one thing, our club knows, he's going to go out there and give you every ounce of what he has.
The other thing to know about Woody is a pretty good hitting pitcher, but he's coming off his worst outing of the second half. They'll have to get better from him today to beat the Dodgers. John?
All right, Gary. So Woody Williams getting ready to take them out here momentarily up against Odalis Perez. The Dodgers and the Cardinals, 2 ancient rivals from the 19th century. And here they are, matched up in the National League Division Series. Game 1 on a crisp, clear day about to begin.
I can feel it coming in the air tonight.
With Celebrex, I will not give in.
I will not give in.
I will not give in to the joint pain of osteoarthritis.
With Celebrex, I can line up my putt.
I can play the long version.
With Celebrex, one pill lasts up to 24 hours. That's one pill, 24 hours. So you can live your life the way you want.
With Celebrex, I will not settle for part-time relief.
Celebrex should not be taken if you've had aspirin-sensitive asthma or allergic reaction due to aspirin or other arthritis medicines or certain drugs called sulfonamides. In rare cases, serious stomach problems such as bleeding can occur without warning. Tell your doctor if you have kidney or liver problems.
If you're suffering from pain, inflammation, or stiffness, maybe you should stop trying to manage it on your own. Ask your doctor about Celebrex.
With Celebrex, I will not give in.
I will not give in.
Take control with the proven strength of Celebrex.
How do you spend quality time with the family without spending a fortune? Why, with Wendy's 99-cent super value menu. From our hot and juicy junior bacon cheeseburgers to freshly prepared side salads to cool, creamy Frosties, there's something for everyone. Wendy's, it's better here.
One day you wake up and find a few hairs on your pillow. Next day, they're dribbling your head down the court.
Get V for Men thickening shampoo for up to 50% thicker looking hair for better scalp coverage. V for Men by L'Oreal Paris.
On the ground. Do your living on the ground. Do your living on the ground. Or make your living in the air. Freestyle air. Make your living in the air.
What will you do in the air? NBA Live 2005 with Freestyle Air. Rated E for everyone. EA Sports. It's in the game.
I put a spell on you. Because you're mine. I put a spell on you. What's up? Because you're mine. Ah!
ESPN's Major League Baseball Division Series, presented by Budweiser. Budweiser, grab a cold, fresh Budweiser. It's game time. And in part by Tostitos Chips and Salsa.
The wind is swirling around inside this big bowl of a ballpark in downtown St. Louis. The Cardinals have just taken the field, and we're just moments away from getting started here. Woody Williams taking the mound. There's no way of telling what the wind up there would have in terms of an effect on a fly ball inside this bowl. The Dodgers, under manager Jim Tracy, 4th in the league in earned run average, 9th in the league in runs per game, but number 1 in the National League in the ability to come from behind and post a victory, something that they did 10 times in September alone, 10 times down by 2 runs or more, and they came back to win. So let's take a look at the Dodgers batting order now as Woody Williams takes his warm-ups. Cesar Izturis, a breakthrough year. He's at shortstop. Jason Worth, who comes from a long line of former big league players. Now he's the latest. He's in left field. Steve Finley, the hero and the clincher on Saturday against the Giants. Adrian Beltre, a strong candidate for MVP, led the league in home runs, led the majors in homers. Sean Green now at first base, 28 home runs. It'll be Milton Bradley in right field, back from his season-ending suspension. It'll be Alex Cora at second base, excellent defensively. A little pop in the bat as well. Brent Maine, the former Diamondback, now the catcher, and Odalis Perez will get the start, the left-hander, batting 9th, and all up against the veteran right-hander, 38-year-old Woody Williams.
And John, I think you said it perfectly. He's a veteran. He's been in these big game situations before, and he knows what he's supposed to do. The key is his sinker and slider. He has to keep both of those pitches down. But Woody Williams is a guy that you can depend on in these type of situations. That's why Tony La Russa went with him in game 1.
And Woody Williams, who had some arm problems in spring training and didn't get started till a little bit later. And even then, when he started pitching, he was having so little success, he even thought about retiring. So here we go. And the 2004 Major League Baseball postseason is underway. Ball 1 to Cesar Izturis. Izturis is a switch hitter hitting .288, and that is a ball. to make it 2-0. But Woody Williams had these problems. His wife helped to convince him that he should not think about retiring. And then gradually he got better and ultimately became the ace of the staff. And there's a called strike. But the guy who really all season long was the ace of the staff, Chris Carpenter, Joe, he's out and maybe out for the whole postseason. They don't know. 2-1 the count. Now 2-2.
And John, the fans here are excited, and I'm excited. It does not get any better than this. Postseason baseball in the daytime. This is great. This is the way it's supposed to start.
2-2. And back to the screen. Cesar Izturis, who has a younger brother, Maicer Izturis, who came up to the big leagues during the season with the Montreal Expos. And he's got a 14-year-old brother, Julio Izturis, that he thinks is going to be a big leaguer one day as well. That is a foul off to the left.
Watching Woody Williams so far, he fell behind early, then he had to raise his sights a little bit. You do not like to see him pitching upstairs, but he's trying to make sure he throws strikes now. Those fastballs, the last 3 were up a little bit. See there, right there, another one up. That's a slider. All those pitches are up. He'll have to get the ball down if he's going to be successful. But I think it was just the fact that he fell behind. He wanted to make sure he didn't walk his tourist to lead off the ball game.
And this kind of an at-bat became a trademark of the Dodgers this year, especially late in games. The long, protracted battle. This is the 8th pitch, and it's not over yet. Now, and he was very high with that one, Joe. 3-2.
His adrenaline's flowing. I mean, you're excited out there, and maybe sometimes you do overthrow early in the ball game.
9th pitch coming up. And a pop-up. Scott Rowland. 1 away.
Well, let's take a look at the defense behind Woody Williams. And we're going to highlight Scott Rowland because he's been playing injured off and on the last couple of weeks. Plus, this is a gold glove type defense. I mean, that Rent Correa's won a couple. Matheny behind the plate. We know Jim Edmonds, Larry Walker's won gold gloves in right field as well. So this is an excellent defense. I think they have the best defensive team, you know, in the National League, although the Dodgers might argue that with their infield.
And that misses ball 1. Yeah, the Dodgers is with their infield, and also is Steve Finley, a gold glover out in center field added. The Dodgers defense actually ended up with the best record in terms of the fewest unearned runs allowed of any team.
But if I'm going to pick a team, I think this St. Louis team, they go get the ball. They do everything that you're supposed to do. They do not make any mistakes under pressure. That's what I like about that team, this team, defensively.
Jason Worth, the hitter, and a good slider on the outside. Strike 2. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
And you can see the difference. Now I think he's settled in after that first batter. Now he's getting the ball down where he's supposed to. That was a slider knee high and away. It doesn't get, can't make a better pitch than that. So I really think that, you know, he's going to settle in and get the ball down.
Jason Worth, 6 feet 5 inches tall, and inside to the tall, slender right-handed hitter whose dad was a former big leaguer, came up with the Yankees originally. Dennis Worth, he's here today. Also his uncle, Dick Schofield, Dickie, who played for the Angels among other teams, and Dickie's father, Ducky Schofield, whom you played against, Joe.
Yeah.
Is also here today. 2-2. 2-2 the count to Jason Worth. Pretty good pickup for the Dodgers this year. And the longer the season went, the more he played. That one into right field for a base hit.
That's similar to the base hit he got against the Giants in the 9th inning rally on Saturday. Fastball away, and he just reaches out and punches it to right field. It was an excellent pitch by Woody Williams, down and away, and he just reached out and poked it to right field.
The Cardinals with the best record in Major League Baseball this year, just behind Atlanta for pitching in the National League. The highest scoring team in the National League, and it's the 4th time they've won the Central Division in the last 5 seasons under Tony La Russa. Now here's Steve Finley, whose game-ending grand slam crushed the Giants and made the Dodgers the champions of the West, and that was just a couple of days ago, just this past Saturday. 1 ball and no strikes. Over the outside for a strike. Steve Finley's only hit 1 home run in 39 career postseason games. which is interesting. So he's been here a lot, but just one time has he homered. With the Dodgers, he played in 58 games, had 46 RBIs. He really picked up his RBI pace. Overall, 36 homers, 94 batted in. With the Diamondbacks, 23 homers, 48 RBIs, but that was in 104 games. 46 RBIs with the Dodgers. I would guess he probably got a lot more RBI opportunities with the Dodgers, and he had Beltre hitting behind him. High pop-up, Renteria. And that is out number 2. Red Schoendienst at the ballpark today, along with Bob Gibson and Stan Musial. Cardinals with that rich tradition, that great heritage. A lot of Hall of Famers have played here, and there you see 3 of the great ones here today. Adrian Beltre, 48 home runs. He led the majors. That fastball in there for a strike. Beltre with a big breakout season, and he's still a young guy, only 24 years old, and he's also going to be a free agent at the end of this year. 1 strike to count. Look out. Buzzed him with that one. 1 ball, 1 strike. Beltre tied Mike Schmidt's all-time record for home runs in a season by a third baseman with 48, as well as leading the majors in that category. Broken bat, but he's got a base hit, and Worth will stop at second base. So now Shawn Green will come up. 2 men on, 2 men out.
Fastball in, and he just doesn't get around on it. It was a good pitch after firing one inside, and it jams him. He gets a little base hit to center field.
So Beltre in his first postseason at bat gets a hit. You think there's something to that, Joe? I mean, for a guy who's never been here before, get that first hit, is that like a big thing to get that out of the way? Because Shawn Green's another guy, never been here after all these years in the big leagues.
Well, I think there are a lot of guys who are, in their first playoff game, and they just have to go out and play the game. But the one thing you have to remember, everything's going to be intensified. You have to turn up your intensity as well to match the intensity of the other team.
That changeup misses. 2-0 to Shawn Green. Green had actually played in more games than any other player in the game today without being in a postseason game. He had over 1,500 regular season games. And at long last, here he is. He had 28 homers this year for the Dodgers. A high pop fly. Reggie Sanders. 2 men left for LA. Now the Cardinals coming up. Womack, Larry Walker, and then Albert Pujols. No score.
On the next, I'd do anything. It's a dangerous race to the end zone.
That is a sick joke.
Bring on the bees.
Oh my God. Bugger just got me to napping.
And soccer goals from 5,000 feet.
That was the scariest feeling I ever had. I was scared like a schoolgirl.
I'd do anything. Tonight at 10 p.m. on ESPN. Risking it all for someone you love.
Hang on to your couch. You know that Dish Network offers you hundreds of channels to choose from. Now we have a great way for you to see just the channels that are important to you. Favorites lists. You can create a personalized guide that only displays your favorite channels. And they're so easy to set up. Press Menu, select Favorites, and then pick out the channels you love. Then simply press Guide a few times to reach your list. There it is, a channel lineup just for you.
The Octagon, the ultimate proving ground where the world's greatest fighters come to test their skills. Some feel the sweet thrill of victory, others the pain of defeat. The most dominating victory in all of sports is the Knockout. The Ultimate Fighting Championship presents Ultimate Knockouts 3. This month on pay-per-view.
The National League Division Series Game 1, the Dodgers and the Cardinals, the first of 3 games to be played here in the first day of Major League Baseball's postseason. The Cardinals batting order now, Tony Womack, who had a great rebound season this year. He's at second. Larry Walker, the former Colorado Rocky, adds even more power to this lineup, as if they needed it. Albert Pujols, the great slugger, another great year for Albert at first. Scott Rowland is at third base. He had a great year, injured even at the end. Edgar Renteria at shortstop. Jim Edmonds, who's been a great postseason slugger, as well as what he slugs during the year. Reggie Sanders in left field. He's got power. Mike Matheny, the catcher, hitting 8th. And Woody Williams, the pitcher, who also is a pretty good hitter, batting 9th, all up against Odalis Perez. And Joey only won 7 games this year.
I tell you what, John, I like his attitude going in. He says that he's not afraid of the situation. He's looking forward to pitching in this situation. But he's also a guy that can change speeds very well. You see, he only gave up 180 hits in 196 innings. So he's not a guy that you're going to knock around. He will change speeds, and you're going to have to do that, and you're going to have good control to go through this Cardinals lineup.
Originally signed by the Atlanta Braves, and he was acquired in a trade by the Dodgers when they sent Gary Sheffield to Atlanta about 3 years ago. Tony Womack, and the count is 0-1. So Odalis Perez, who, as a kid growing up in the Dominican Republic, patterned himself after Tom Glavine. And Tom Glavine was his idol. And there are some things that would remind you a little bit of Glavine because he changes speed so well. He got an excellent changeup, and he changes speeds in that fastball. 0-2 the count.
Nice pitch. He stayed down, then went upstairs out of the strike zone, and that's how you finish a hitter off after you get ahead of him.
That was Steve Finley who made the grab out there in center field.
And speaking of defense, the Dodgers have an excellent defense. Beltre's very good at third. Isturis, I think, is as good as any shortstop in baseball, and he makes these plays day in and day out. I mean, he looks fantastic out there at shortstop, and I think he is the key to their infield along with Alex Cora. They are very good up the middle defense.
Yeah, they were, if not the best, certainly right near the top as the best double play combination in the league. There's the curveball. That is in there for a strike to Larry Walker. So now, after Womack, that's when you get into the Cardinals' power. And once you're into it for a long time.
The difference here is that Odalis Perez has handled Larry Walker pretty well, you know, throughout his career.
1 strike to Walker, and the fastball is too high. Larry Walker facing Odalis Perez, and against him, he's had only 1 hit in 15 at-bats. And he swings and misses at the curveball. 1-2.
And you watch Odalis Perez, he doesn't throw a lot of curveballs. There are not going to be that many left-handers in the lineup. Obviously, you have Edmonds, but he has thrown 2 perfectly placed breaking balls to Larry Walker. The first one for a strike. This one starts a strike and breaks off the outside corner.
1-2 the count. Another breaking ball for the strikeout. Maine has to retrieve it, and he throws to Green at first for the putout. Walker is out number 2.
And he's 1 for 16 now. But what that tells me is that Larry Walker does not see the ball well from Odalis Perez. He has trouble picking it up and picking up the spin on the ball because Larry Walker does not swing at pitches off the plate like he did the last 2 swings. I mean, that wasn't even close. And he swung at the second strike the same way. So he's not picking the ball up well from Odalis Perez. But this guy will pick it up well from anybody.
Now, here is Albert Pujols, himself a very strong candidate for the MVP in the National League. And you see that's either the changeup or he just took something off that fastball. 83 miles an hour, got it up a little bit. Albert Pujols hit .379 against left-handed pitching this year. .331 overall. The Cardinals, they have a lot of guys who wear out the lefties. Pujols hit .379. Rowland hit .371. Renteria .366. Even Jim Edmonds, a left-handed hitter, hit .330 against the lefties. 1-1 the count. And down and away. On the other hand, Joe, looking at the history of Perez this year, he actually did better against right-handed hitters than he did against the lefties.
Well, these guys handle left-handed pitching because none of them are really pull hitters. Roland, Pujols, Renteria, all of them shoot the ball left center to right center, and that's how you handle left-handed pitching.
Fastball at the knees. And look at that, 92 miles an hour. So he was 83, 85, and all of a sudden 92 miles an hour to Albert Pujols. 2-2.
So far in this ball game, Dale Scott has been giving the low pitch, which had been, before they changed the umpiring rotations, had been a trait of the National League.
2-2, 2 down. Deep center. Way back there. Finley to the wall. It's gone. A home run. And the Cardinals strike first. Albert Pujols to center field. 1-0 St. Louis.
John, and that's why I say the Cardinals can handle good pitching. You can't pitch a hitter any better than Odalis Perez pitched Pujols there. Change speeds, he threw in fastball. Every pitch was a different speed, and he ends up throwing a changeup away, down, and he still hits it out of the ballpark. That's what you call handling good pitching right there.
You see Odalis Perez a little upset. The fans are still on their feet. They want Albert to come out and take a bow. Here he comes.
The fans here in St. Louis are the best.
Now Scott rolling. So it is 1-0 Cardinals. Rolling, another slugger who has done well in the past against Perez, but this one into the glove of Sean Green. A foul out on the first pitch to end the inning. The home run by Albert Pujols, the third of his career in only 11 at-bats, versus Odalis Perez. 1-0 Cardinals.
Joe, as your agent, I gotta tell you, there's only one thing holding you back.
What's that?
A catchphrase. All the great ones had them. That's a winner. Holy cow. You need one too.
Maury, why would I want to play down to the fans for something that doesn't come naturally? Why?
Why? Licensing.
Fly ball center field might go. Home run! Slam-a-lamma! Ding dong!
Hey, that's Tostitos. We should do this more often.
Oh, great, the game's on.
Everyone loves a great crunchy taste of Tostitos scoops, and with the bite-sized bowl shape, you get the perfect dip every time.
How's our defense?
You're a lucky man. I swore I wasn't gonna cry.
And now, look for Tostitos in our new blue bags.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be landing shortly. For those of you connecting, we have some information for you. If you're going on to Atlanta, you'll be at gate A9, Buenos Aires, A17. Back from a long night out with the entire Tokyo office, capped off by a karaoke rendition of I Am Woman that certainly no one will forget, and still pulling off that 7-figure deal the next morning without a hitch, you're at gate C21, Denver, C10.
We know why you fly. We're American Airlines.
Assurance in rain means Goodyear's deeply carved aqua chutes propel water away from your tread. Assurance on ice means Goodyear's interlocking treads deliver gripping power. Assurance on dry pavement means Goodyear's reinforced shoulders give you confident maneuvering. The revolutionary new Goodyear Assurance with triple tread technology for assurance in any weather on the wings of Goodyear.
I need a key to my room.
Are you done with the sports section?
Game one of the National League Division Series, the Dodgers and the Cardinals. The Cardinals have scored first, although Steve Finley almost caught this ball, Joe.
Well, I don't think it's as close as you guys think it is. I just think that he was up there, but there's a gap between the fence and where the stands start. He made a great effort, though, which you expect from Steve Finley.
Milton Bradley leading off for the Dodgers, and he has a count of 2-0 now, facing Woody Williams. I think he almost caught it, and that's my story. I'm going with it.
And that's good.
2-0 the count, and that's too low. I think they should charge Finley for being up there in the stands like that. That fence is a tall fence, and he climbed it and almost went it up into the first row. Well, Milton Bradley leads off the second inning with a walk, and the Dodgers already are making Woody Williams work. He threw 25 pitches in that first inning, and now a walk to start this inning. Most of the year, when Tony La Russa could rely on his starters going deep into games. Cardinals had an excellent bullpen, but part of that was that all 5 of their starters invariably would carry them into the 7th or 8th innings of games. This is Alex Cora. And back to the bag is Bradley. Alex Cora, talk about a guy who can work a pitcher and create some problems. He had an at-bat this year against the Cubs' Matt Clement that went on for 18 pitches. And on the 18th one, he hit a home run. At the knees for a strike. And in one of those big playoff type games with the Giants down the stretch in San Francisco, he did something very similar, not to the same extent, but he forced the Giants pitcher to throw 10 or 11 pitches, and on the last one he hit a home run. But he's never done anything against Woody Williams. Just off the outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. The fans are not happy with plate umpire Dale Scott.
Even though he throws a sinker and a slider, he does not induce a lot of ground balls, double plays. That's unusual. He just does not get a lot of double plays.
And guys, a lot of guys get the ball airborne against him. That is strike 2. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Woody Williams only got 1 ground ball for a double play in his last 24 starts, Joe. 1 ball and 2 strikes. That curveball, this could be 2. Renteria steps in the bag 1 over to first. A low throw dug out by Pujols. Double play.
And he gets the job done, not with his sinker, but with a curveball. And he gets the ground ball, and it's turned by the infield. But Renteria, this looks like a routine play, but Pujols has to make a great play at first base. See, that should be a routine play. He threw it in the dirt. Nice scoop there by Pujols, who has turned into a very good first baseman as he has played the entire season at first. The ball really sunk on Renteria. Probably didn't have it across the seams.
So 2 down, and here is Brent Maine, who takes a strike. When the Dodgers traded Paul Lo Duca, they ended up in the deal for Finley acquiring Brent Maine to work with Dave Ross behind the plate. There's the curveball, strike 2. But neither one of the catchers really hit. Maine hit only 188 the rest of the year after coming to L.A. Ross hit only 170 all year. 0-2 the count. That curveball in the dirt.
And the fact that they're carrying 3 catchers says something about their lack of offense from that position. He figures he may, Jim Tracy figures he may have to pinch hit a couple of times for their catchers, and therefore he needs 3, so that if he does have to pinch hit for one in the, say, the 6th inning and the 8th inning, he'll still have someone to catch the 9th.
He's got Tom Wilson, the veteran catcher, as the 3rd catcher. Now 2 balls, 2 strikes to Brent Maine. The pitcher, Odalis Perez, would be next.
And that's one of the things that was caused by the trade of Lo Duca, who was a good offensive hitter player as well.
2-2 the count. Chased the high fastball, fouling it out of play. 2-2. Of course, nobody could have predicted that Brad Penny was going to go down.
No.
But that was the key to the deal as far as the Dodgers were concerned, getting Brad Penny. But then he hardly ever pitched for the Dodgers before an injury put him out for most of the rest of the year. 2 balls, 2 strikes. then on the other hand, they went ahead and made that deal with Arizona to get Finley. That ended up working beautifully. Finley, Penny, Hesop Choi, and Brent Maine ended up coming to the Dodgers. Finley did a great job. Penny got into only 3 games before getting hurt. Actually 2 games when he got hurt, and tried to make a comeback and had to leave that game early on. Hesop Choi hardly ever played. That curveball hangs high. 3-2. Incidentally, Eric Gagne, although he had a cortisone shot at his shoulder last week, Tracy says he's fine now. That one is ripped foul down the right field line, and Gagne would be available for more than 3 outs if circumstances called for it in this game today. Gagne pitched only 1 time in the final week of the regular season. 3-2 the count. 2 down, nobody on. Chases another high one. Renteria, and this goes right there. 1-0 Cardinals. Edgar Renteria, Jim Edmonds, and Reggie Sanders coming up.
On this island, no one is who they seem.
Don't trust her.
She's got that gun. What did you do?
See why Lost is being called the best new drama on TV. An all-new Lost, Wednesday 8/7 Central, only on ABC.
This fall, Bristol-Myers Squibb, the cancer community, and I will come together for a very special campaign called the Bristol-Myers Squibb Tour of Hope.
At Bristol-Myers Squibb, the race against disease never stops. This October, we bring that race out on the road to raise awareness about cancer research and the importance of clinical trials. Follow the Bristol-Myers Squibb Tour of Hope team and Lance Armstrong in this historic ride.
Hope, triumph, and the miracle of medicine. Bristol-Myers Squibb Company.
I'm looking for a job as a truck driver. Just gives you that time to yourself. Freedom, I guess is the word. With trucking comes a sense of responsibility. Safety is my key. That's the motto. That's what I ride by. That's part of the code for driving. You can find me on Monster.
Rush into KFC for a game bucket deal. 6 pieces of extra crispy chicken and 6 honey barbecue wings. Plus a free half-gallon Pepsi Mega Jug, all for just $9.99.
Still have time?
Yeah. Only in Capital USA.
Cardinals 1, Dodgers 0. Game 1 of the National League Division Series. Dodgers and Cardinals. We go to the last of the 2nd inning. Edgar Renteria, Jim Edmonds, and Reggie Sanders coming up. By the way, a little bit later after this ball game, another team from the LA Basin, the Anaheim Angels, who won the American League West, will be hosting the Boston Red Sox. That series begins today at 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 Pacific. And then tonight, it will be the Minnesota Twins and the New York Yankees at Yankee Stadium. That will be carried on Fox. So Southern California got a chance to be the baseball capital of the world in October. This is the first time since the Angels were born in 1961 that both the Angels and Dodgers made the postseason in the same year. Dallas Perez throws a strike call to Edgar Renteria. There's a fan keeping score. They may have more fans keeping score here in St. Louis than in any other ballpark. Inside with a fastball. 1 ball, 1 strike. Renteria hit .287, 10 homers, 72 batted in. Only 29 years old, already a World Series hero from 1997 with Florida. In the dirt. 2-1. Renteria, .236 overall average in postseason play. Just off the outside. 3-1 now. Dallas Perez, only 26 years old, from the Dominican Republic. Grew up across the street from a baseball stadium. 3-1. Too high. A leadoff walk for Renteria, and now the powerful Jim Edmonds will come up. And Edmonds has had great success in postseason play. He also did real well against left-handed pitching this year. A .330 batting average against left-handers. Overall, 42 homers, 111 RBIs. Got on base more than 40% of the time. But he finished the year in a slump. 1 hit in his last 29 at bats. Now Edmonds asked for timeout. Granted, just as Perez started to throw the pitch.
Well, the umpire should not do that. I mean, first of all, the pitcher can injure himself by trying to stop himself, and he doesn't want to give away what the pitch was. So once he starts his motion, you should let it go.
Right on the outside corner for a called strike. Reggie Sanders on deck. 1-0. The Cardinals already ahead. Pujols, who hit 46 homers in the regular season, has homered in this one. Edmonds hit 42. Rolen hit 34. And the man on deck, Reggie Sanders, hit 22. Curveball fouled. Out of play. 0-2 the count.
One of the reasons Edmund has handled left-handed pitching so well this year is because he's not trying to pull the ball. He will shoot a lot of balls to left center and right center instead of trying to pull the breaking ball. And if you throw a fastball out over the plate, he just goes the other way with it, and he has power enough to hit it out of any part of the ballpark.
Nobody out. Renteria, the runner at first. 2 strikes the count. There goes Renteria. And on the breaking ball, he steals it without a throw.
Interesting choice timing-wise to steal second base. 0-2. A lot of times a pitcher will waste a fastball up, and you do not want to run on that. But in this case, they chose the right pitch, breaking ball down and away, and no chance for Maine to throw Renteria out. And this is the Cardinals. I mean, they do more than just hit the ball. They will run the bases well. They'll steal a base. They're a very good offensive ball club.
We have a varied attack. In the dirt outside, knocked down by Maine. 2-2 now to Edmonds. Now, the fact that he's stolen an 0-2 pitch, Joe, could that be the result of scouting?
Well, I mean, it could be, but they haven't faced Odalis Perez this year, so they don't know exactly how he's going to pitch to their hitters. Because he did something to the Giants hitters doesn't mean he's going to do that to the Cardinals hitters, because they're completely different types of hitters. I think it was just Renteria felt like he had him timed over there. He got a good jump and just took off.
2-2 the count. And a fastball in the hands, fouled straight back. Let's go down to Gary Miller.
Well, John and Joe was scouting from the bench right before that pitch. Tony La Russa turned to his coach Joe Pettini and said, "What do you got?" He said, "I got 5-7." The time from Perez from pitch to the home plate. Next pitch, Renteria took off and stole the base.
And all that's great, you know, as far as the timing of it. You know you can steal a base, but you still have to read him. Left-handed pitchers, obviously, you have to read him and not get picked off. So the timing is good to know, though. But you still also have to be able to read when he's going to the plate and when he's coming to first base.
Renteria, who stole 17 bases in the regular season. How many bases did you steal? 689?
Can't remember.
You didn't keep track?
No.
You should have called me. I would have written it down for you. Well, now they've got him picked off. He took off on first motion.
I'm trying to figure out how.
Now the ball is dropped and he makes it back. Perez just dropped the ball. Wow, what a break for Renteria and the Cardinals.
I still want to see that move again. All right. You know, from the angle we're watching, it just seems like it drops out of his hand. But from the angle we're watching, you can't tell whether his foot went behind the rubber or not before he started chasing Renteria.
Well, Renteria is lucky, or Perez is lucky, that ball didn't just fly out into right field. So
well,
now
Renteria was stealing the base. That's why he got caught, of course.
2-2 the count to Jim Edmonds. The curveball grounded foul. Two and two the count to Jim Edmonds. Renteria should be out, but he's still out there.
And Jim Edmonds up trying to drive him in. Now, normally you try to pull the ball with no one out, but with 2 strikes, go ahead and drive him in.
And he struck him out. A foul tip held by Maine. He threw a slider on the outside.
Well, good pitching there by Perez. He came inside with 2 fastballs, and now he goes back away with the curveball. That's why I say you shouldn't try to pull it. You know, go ahead and hit, because with 2 strikes and a left-hander out there, if he throws that curveball down and away, it's going to be hard to pull.
So 1 down. Here's Reggie Sanders. Renteria still at second, 1 out. Reggie Sanders, he's with a different team every year, but it seems like lately, especially, whatever team he's with is playing baseball in October. And they're chanting Reggie. And there's strike 1.
Well, he has a 2-year contract with the Cardinals, and I know Tony La Russa likes him, so I'm sure he'll be here next year, even though, as you mentioned, he's been changing teams each year.
Sanders, 22 home runs this year. Last year, Sanders was with Pittsburgh, hit over 30 home runs. The year before that, he was with the Giants and in the World Series. The year before that, with the Diamondbacks and in the World Series. Back in the postseason here with the Cardinals. Fastball too high. Now Sanders, 22 home runs and a dangerous hitter, and he's hitting 7th. There's Walt Jocketty, the man who put this ball club together, senior vice president and general manager of the Cardinals.
Even though he did not pick Renteria off, I think he was successful in keeping Renteria from trying to steal 3rd base. One of the things you can do very easily if you're a base stealer is steal 3rd base off of a left-handed pitcher. The angle and the fact that he's slower in his delivery to the plate than most right-handers.
Wow, the bat flew out of his hands and hit the railing right next to that couple behind the Majestic sign there. And they were, well, the one woman just now came back up for air. But it hit that railing. They had a protective shield. Reggie gets his bat back. 1 ball, 2 strikes to count to him.
One of the things that tells you when a guy loses the bat like that is tells you that he had too much top hand on that particular swing. And his top hand took over, and he couldn't control it in his fingers.
That's Renteria, number 3, at second base. 1 out. The Cardinals lead 1-0. A ball and 2 strikes. Back to the screen. Reggie Sanders with the Cincinnati Reds. He came up with the Reds originally, with the Padres. Then Atlanta, went into the postseason with Atlanta, into the World Series and got a ring with Arizona. Made the World Series with the Giants. And last year hit over 30 homers for the Pirates. And now with the Redbirds here in St. Louis. And trying to help get them to the World Series. Reggie, he's been with a different club every year, but always for the full season. He's never been traded in the middle of a season. Mike Matheny would be next. Change up outside. 2-2. I mean, it seems like Perez is working extremely slowly here. Extreme slowness. 2 balls, 2 strikes. A broken bat. Alex Cora, the second baseman, and that is out number 2. So 2 down, and now Matheny, the 8th place hitter, will come up.
Fastball in on the hands, and it just shatters the bat. Nice pitch there by Perez.
So 2 down. So Renteria led off this inning with a walk, stole second, then got picked off, but nonetheless made it back to second base. I don't see any error on the scoreboard about that, Joe. Shouldn't that have been an error?
No, well, I guess they don't anticipate there, even though you're in a hot box, unless a tag is made or you drop a throw when he's going to be clearly out. I guess they're figuring he was still in the hot box.
Well, as like one of my old partners used to say, Joe, it's not anticipating, it's just looking out in the field and seeing what would have happened.
Well, okay. But the rule book says, you know, sometimes you aren't supposed to anticipate.
Because I think they pretty well had him, in my opinion. 1 ball and no strikes to count to Matheny. But Odalis Perez dropped the ball. Ball and a strike to Matheny, who hit .247, 5 homers and 50 batted in, but one of the best defensive catchers in the National League.
And you might wonder why they're pitching to Matheny with Woody Williams up next, and they're already down by 1 run. Well, what they're going to do is try to pitch him very carefully, but if you walk him and you get Woody Williams out, you have Womack leading off the inning next at the next inning, and you do not want that to happen. But you see, he's going to be very careful because you can't afford to give Matheny a pitch to hit, and he drives in another run, then you fall behind 2-0. But Tony Womack is the reason that they're pitching to Matheny in this situation.
2 balls and a strike to Matheny. Odalis Perez with Renteria at second. And that breaking ball inside. 3-1.
And I agree with the theory. I don't believe you should ever give him a pitch to hit because, you know, you have the pitcher on deck, and the only thing you're going to get out of this is that you would keep Tony Womack from leading off next inning. And I think you're better off pitching to the pitcher in this situation and not falling 2 runs behind or risking falling 2 runs behind.
Of course, that pitcher, this particular pitcher, hits pretty well. That's a breaking ball bounce foul.
But he's not as good a hitter as Matheny.
Now, should Matheny be prepared to go out of the strike zone a little bit?
No, I don't think you go out of the strike zone because you will accomplish something, and that is you'll get the pitcher to the plate where your leadoff hitter would lead off. I mean, you would defeat what they're trying to accomplish.
If they're going to walk in, go ahead and take your walk in this situation. Three and 2 the count. Renteria, the runner at second, ready to go in anything. Struck him out.
Nice pitch. Got him to go out of the strike zone, but he made a good pitch with it.
Well, that was a slider or a changeup. I mean, it really had some dipping action to it. 1 man stranded. Perez coming up, then the top of the order. 1-0 Cardinals.
Game Boy Advance SP, now only $79.99.
I just want to be remembered as somebody that went out and played hard and did their job and was good for the game.
At the wall.
The competition, putting your body on the line, the roar of the crowd, all of those things make you want to go out there and do the best you can.
Single, double, triple. Deep to right field. Goodbye, home run, Jim Evans.
I live for this.
October, 8 teams, 1 champion. Watch the World Series. Don't miss it.
Attention entrepreneurs, or anyone who dreams of owning their own business. Global Resources has a unique opportunity for you to make huge income. This is a ground floor opportunity to own your own high-profit, turnkey business with no selling if you qualify, and collect cash as well as monthly residual checks. At this time, there are a limited number of high-traffic locations available in your area, so call now and reserve yours. Discover how you can be a part of a multi-billion-dollar business that actually lets you earn income while you sleep. But the number of distributorships in your area is limited, so call now and receive your free information kit with DVD. Qualified distributors will have access to a limited number of locations. Finally, your own high-profit business with minimal effort. For the personal and financial freedom you dream of, for a sound future, to be part of a winning team. Call 1-800-595-9695 now.
Welcome back to St. Louis in just a sec. I want to say hello to Steve Phillips, the former Met GM who was here. I'm Carl Ravitch. Be here all day through the Anaheim-Boston game as well. And Steve, one of the things that you as the general manager were privy to, all these advanced scout notes that you had, you thought it played an impact earlier?
Well, John and Joe were talking about the advanced scouting and the work that goes into that. These teams send out 3 or 4 scouts to watch each other. And I think we had Edgar Renteria on first base, 0-2 count, stole on the breaking ball in the dirt. And with that, I think they know the tendency that Perez has to throw the breaking ball on the 0-2 count. And then on second base, he's leading off. The Cardinal scouting report says Perez is one of those guys who looks to second once, goes to the plate, he starts to go, and I think that's what we saw.
All right, guys, and back here in St. Louis, Odalis Perez leading off with a ground out to the shortstop, Edgar Renteria, and there is one away, and we go to the top of the Dodger batting order. Cesar Izturis will come up now. Izturis popped up to third his first time. Tony La Russa, Cardinal manager, will chat with us between innings coming up. So after the Dodgers inning is over, we'll have a chance to visit with Tony La Russa from the dugout. Cesar Izturis, and he takes a called strike. When Jim Tracy became the manager of the Dodgers, the first thing he did was have a team meeting and say, you know, a lot of people say that we don't get everything we should get out of this roster. You know, some people kind of laugh at us. They say that we're selfish and we don't play as a team. He says that's going to change right now. And that's the challenge to you guys. And Tracy followed that up because he made Izturis the shortstop, and a lot of people thought that he wasn't ready to be the shortstop in the big leagues. He made Dave Roberts the center fielder and leadoff man, and Roberts had been 8 years in the minor leagues where people thought he wasn't a big leaguer. He got rid of a couple of high-priced players that he thought were not ready to help the Dodgers. And finally, this year into the postseason, Izturis with a solid single to right center. He had the big turn at first, but Walker hurried the ball back into second, and Izturis held on with a single.
High fastball again from Woody Williams, not where he's trying to pitch. If he gets the ball down, he'll get some more ground balls. That pitch is up, and that's a line drive in the right center field. Izturis does what you're supposed to do. Go until they force you to go back to first base.
And the Cardinals, as you pointed out, Joe, they're not going to give you much. Walker won Gold Gloves in right field. I mean, all around the field, they have just outstanding defensive players. Here is Jason Worth, and that is a called strike. But Jim Tracy came in, and the Dodgers, who used to be a very poor defensive ball club for a while, and he, little by little, brought in new players, working with his general manager. And when we should mention Dan Evans, who had been the general manager that built this ball club for the most part. He got fired before the season started under new ownership. But when you look around this Dodger ball club and say who are key players, you have to mention Dan Evans. But finally became the ball club that Tracy wanted, a strong defensive ball club and a sound fundamental ball club.
Well, they suffered so much last year with runners at third, less than 2 outs. They're much better situational hitters now. They learned how to do that. There were so many occasions last year they get a runner at third, no one out, and never score.
Vance thought it was in there. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Jason Worth, who singled to right his first time. There's the big look at the big crowd at Busch Stadium. 57 degrees was the game time temperature. Blue skies overhead. A beautiful, crisp day here near the shores of the mighty Mississippi. And back to the bag is Izturis. Izturis stole 25 bases this year. You mentioned the Cardinals and their defense. The Cardinals did commit 97 errors this year. The Dodgers committed 73. The Dodgers only allowed 37 unearned runs this season. Just by comparison, the Cardinals allowed 54, which is very good.
Yeah, I just think that one is, statistics will tell you one thing. I think watching a player play every day tells you another thing. That's why you see a lot of times the guy that wins the Gold Glove will make more errors than someone at the same position. It's all about covering ground, making the right plays. You're going to make some mistakes. I mean, you're going to make some physical errors. I don't think the Cardinals make any mental errors defensively. That's what I like about their ball club.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Steve Finley on deck. That's past third but foul on the breaking ball from Woody Williams. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Jason Worth. The power, the big time power. Worth has some power, but the big time power hitters are coming up next. Finley, Beltre, Green, Bradley. Is Steve Finley on deck.
And I think you see a different approach to pitching Jason Worth with the Cardinals. They're throwing him a lot more breaking balls than we saw the Giants throwing him.
Izturis, the runner at first. Broken bat. That bat flew right by Scott Rowland as he was focused intently on the ball. And that bat only missed him by maybe a foot, if that. A bat with a jagged edge.
And smart pitching there by Woody Williams. He's throwing him a lot of breaking balls. So what does he do? He throws him a fastball in off the plate. And Rowland moves out of the way of the bat and then goes and makes the play.
Rowland gave it a little bit of an Olay there. A little bullfighter in him, apparently. If it had been me, Joe, I'd be a little more pronounced in my getting out of the way of that bat, though. 2 down, and here is Steve Finley. Finley popped up to short his first time. Woody Williams is a guy that can be awfully tough on left-handed hitters. Got the ability to run that kind of a cut fastball on the hands of a lefty. Staying with the curveball here, but he misses. 1 ball, no strikes. Finley's had 3 home runs in his career against Finley, but he's also faced him 43 times now. 43 lifetime at bats against him. 2 veterans here. A high breaking ball foul tipped off the glove of Matheny. Ball on a strike. Finley said he had no idea that his grand slam on Saturday to beat the Giants and win the division was going to leave the park. But he immediately started to celebrate because he knew he had hit it well and it was going to go over the head of the right fielder, and the runner from third was going to score the winning run. 1-2. That was one of those scenarios where the Giants infield was in, the outfield was in, with 1 out, bases loaded. But the ball just carried right on out of the yard, and he ended up with a grand slam to clinch the division title. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Izturis back to the bag. Cardinals lead 1-0. We're in the third. Finley making Woody Williams wait on him. Adrian Beltre would be next. very high. 2-2. Finley, when he hit that grand slam, that was his 36th home run, and that is his personal record. He hit 35 in 1 year with Arizona in the past. That's too high. 3-2 the count. What do you think hitting in front of Beltre should get you a pitch to hit right here?
No. I mean, he's got 36 home runs. They're not worried about who's on deck at this point.
There's Beltre. Finley, 36 homers. Beltre, 48. Izturis takes off. That curveball grounded right to Pujols. Beltre stranded in the on-deck circle. We're going to be visiting with Tony La Russa from the Cardinal dugout when we return. 1-0 Cardinals after 2.5.
Here at the Bud Light Institute, we're always looking for convenient ways to help you get a Bud Light. That's why we've invented the Bud Light Teleporter.
Check this out.
Fresh, smooth, real. Bud Light, it's all here.
Investing your money. Janus tracks down companies they think look headed in the right direction, looking to buy in early. You can't do it long distance, not by numbers alone. Janus walks the walk, shows up in person, goes over their financials, their management, their products, their prospects. Hands-on, step by step, from the bottom up. Working to deliver for Janus investors. Get there.
Cardinals 1, Dodgers nothing. Last of the third inning from St. Louis, Game 1 of the National League Division Series. Coverage of the Major League Baseball Division Series will continue throughout the day. Coming up next will be the Red Sox at Anaheim with Curt Schilling up against Jared Washburn. That's at 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 Pacific. And then tonight on Fox, the Twins and the Yankees. So Red Sox Angels on ESPN at 4. And then the Twins and Yankees 8 o'clock Eastern tonight. And Curt Schilling, 21-6. And he was such a weapon along with Randy Johnson in the postseason with the Diamondbacks 3 years ago.
Well, he's definitely a big-time postseason pitcher. I mean, he can go on short rest and still be effective.
There is Odalis Perez, who gave up a home run in the first inning to Albert Pujols and is trailing 1-0 here. The official scorer did charge Odalis Perez after he reconsidered it. He decided to charge Perez with an error, and Renteria is charged with a caught stealing and then safely getting back to second base because of the error against the pitcher. Here's Woody Williams. When he was at the University of Houston, he was a shortstop. And that curveball in there for a strike. He said he would often pitch the first game of his series in college, and then he played shortstop the rest of the time. It's a foul. And the teams that were interested in him while he was in college were interested in him only as a hitter, not as a pitcher. So finally the Toronto Blue Jays finally drafted him as a pitcher. By the way, see Albert Pujols down there in the runway. That's a foul out of play. 0-2 the count to Woody Williams. Tony La Russa was unable to visit with us between innings, but has said that he will attempt to visit with us after this inning. So stay tuned for that. A changeup. It's soft to the short. Izturis just got it. Woody Williams doesn't run like a pitcher either.
this tour is one of the slickest fielding shortstops. Everything looks easy to him because he has such great footwork. He always seems to be in position to make the play, whether it's diving to his left, moving to his right. He has a great knack for getting his feet in position.
These tourists made only 10 errors during the season. Tony Womack, and that breaking ball is in there. Although, again, Joe, as you mentioned earlier, sometimes the actual stats don't reflect. Sometimes not making many errors means you don't have much range.
And it doesn't. Yeah, exactly. You do not get to as many balls.
But he does get to a lot of balls.
I know he was ranked 3rd in fielding, but I don't think there's a better fielding shortstop anywhere in either league.
2 strikes the count to Tony Womack. Right back to Perez. He drops it. Throws low to first. Sean Green was able to get the put out and avoid taking a knee to the face there as Womack came rushing by.
Ball hit right back to him. O'Dallas knocks it down. Then he knows that Womack is running, so he rushes his throw. What a good play there by Sean Green. Throws it toward the home plate side of first base. He stays with it and removes himself from the flight of.
That ball is hammered. Larry Walker has hit one way out of here. 2-0 Cardinals.
That's what you call making an adjustment as a hitter. He struck him out with off-speed pitches the last time up. He swung at a couple of bad pitches, but O'Dallas Perez throws a strike with this one, and he rips it out of here. Right there, pitch about bell tie, and he ripped it right out of the ballpark. Good adjustments there by Larry Walker.
And Walker came out for a bow. So each Cardinal hitter who's hit one, the fans demanded a curtain call. Pujols in the first, now Walker here. Second postseason home run for Walker. The last one was 1995, which is the only other time he's ever been in the postseason. He hit a home run against Tom Glavine, who, by the way, was the idol of O'Dallas Perez when Perez was a kid.
Talked to Tony La Russa today, and he said even though Walker does not hit O'Dallas Perez well, he knows that he's a good hitter.
That's a base hit up the middle for Albert Pujols on the first pitch.
He says he knows he's a good hitter and he can make adjustments, and he figures he would today, and he was right.
Well, he had 1 hit in 16 at-bats in his career until that first pitch home run, which now gets followed by a first pitch single from Pujols.
He pitched Pujols about as well as you could pitch him last time up, and he still hit a home run, so he just went right after him with the fastball. Left it in the middle of the plate. Pujols right back through the middle.
Albert now with 8 hits in 12 lifetime at-bats against O'Dallas Perez. Here is Scott Rowland, another power hitter. And that's up and away. And I know when we were here in the regular season, Joe, you offered the opinion that you didn't think there was maybe any pitcher that could count on in the postseason being able to go very deep in this game because they just wear you down, this lineup.
Well, I don't think you can go through these guys 3 or 4 times in a game without getting touched up.
1 ball, no strikes, and that is high. 2-0.
And I don't mean just hitting home runs off of him, but scoring some runs, putting the ball in play, keeping you under pressure. That's why this lineup is such a good lineup. I mean, every one of these guys can do something, starting with Womack all the way through Matheny. They all can put the ball in play. They know what they're doing in the batter's box, and they're a smart hitting group. And I think Mitchell Page, who is the hitting instructor, has a lot to do with that. They all have the right approach to hitting.
There he is, the rage, Mitchell Page. 2-0 the count to Scott Rowland. Big pitch here with Pujols at first, and a pop-up foul that is heading back out of play. Brent Maine giving chase, but it's well back in amongst the red-clad spectators.
And Rolen had a good pitch to hit there. He just did not put it in play. 2-0 fastball, middle of the plate in, and he missed it.
Now, Rolen missed a lot of games near the end of the season because of a calf injury.
And he had struggled most of the season with a knee injury, but the calf injury caused him to miss a lot of games.
And back to the bag is Albert Pujols.
See the difference there in Odalis Perez. He did not take his right foot behind the rubber there before he threw the first base. And if you're a hitter or a base stealer and you're trying to read that, once his right foot goes behind the bag, you can take off.
He's got to go home if it goes behind the slab.
It's a balk otherwise.
It's high and tight to Rolen. 3-1. With 2 down and nobody on, Walker hit the first pitch for a home run. Pujols hit the next pitch for a single. And now Scott Rolen has a count of 3-1. There's Larry Walker. Three and one the count. The infield playing Rolen to pull. Inside, ball 4. The walk for Rolen moves Pujols over to second. 2 men on with 2 men out. And now Renteria comes out.
You know, the one thing I think is about this Cardinals team, we talk about how good they are offensively. I think one of the things that's underrated is guys like Renteria and Womack. They are really good clutch hitters. They're guys that really do well in the 8th and 9th inning with runners in scoring position. And 2 of those guys will get you a lot of clutch hits. We know about the big 3 or 4, but these guys are also very good. And you can see they led the league in batting average, runs per game, hits, slugging percentage, just about everything from the offensive side. They also led in steals. So they're a very good offensive ball club.
Jim Colburn, the pitching coach, sent out to the mound by Jim Tracy. And Tracy, meanwhile, calling the bullpen. Jim Lapp, the Dodgers bullpen coach, chatting with the skipper. Now the plate umpire, Dale Scott, out to hurry along Jim Colburn at the mound. And the Dodgers finally decide to get Elmer Descends up, the right-hander. 2 men on, 2 men out. Descends warming up in the bullpen. Dallas Perez has given up a couple of home runs here in the first 3 innings. And he's in trouble right here with 2 men on. Renteria at the plate and Edmonds behind him.
I think the one thing that Jim Tracy fears is that he gets into a scoring race with the Cardinals. He said we're not going to be able to beat them if we have to outscore them with big numbers every day. So he doesn't want to fall behind, you know, by 3 or 4 runs, because he knows then that's what it's going to turn into.
One ball, no strikes. Renteria walked his first time. 2 men on, 2 men out. That is fair. Off the railing. Pujols in to score. Rolen is going to be waved home. Here comes the throw by Worth. Teeth. A double for Renteria. 4-0 Cardinals.
Edgar Renteria drove in 100 runs last year, and as I said, he is a good clutch hitter, good RBI man, and he just rips his ball down the line. But the one thing that happens here that they did not want to happen was Scott Rolen have to run all the way from first base to home, because his leg doesn't bother him other than when he has to stretch out. And he had to stretch out there to score from first with 2 outs. And we'll see how that affects him. But that's the one thing that Tony La Russa was afraid of, was him having to stretch out. He said it doesn't bother him fielding, it doesn't bother him hitting, but when he has to run and stretch out, it does bother his calf.
3 runs are in, and it all started with 2 down and nobody on. Larry Walker hitting the first pitch he saw for a homer. Pujols hit the next pitch for a single. Roland walked. Now Renteria has doubled home a couple. That ball is hammered deep into right center field and into the bullpen. A two-run homer for Jim Edmonds. 6-0 Cardinals. An explosion here in the third inning.
And I tell you, John, these guys are good. I mean, they can handle good pitching. They can handle anything. But the biggest point here to make is that they made adjustments to what Odalis Perez was doing to him the first time through the lineup. Larry Walker struck out. He hits a home run. Jim Edmonds struck out, and he hits the same pitch that they got him out with the next time up.
Well, now they want Edmonds to take a bow. The third home run for the Cardinals. In the first 3 innings, Odalis Perez has been knocked out of the box. Descends is coming in. 6-0. Home runs by Walker and Edmonds here in the third.
Welcome to the positive side of no.
No.
There's a no inside all of us. No. Search for your inner no.
No way.
Embrace it. Repeat.
Nunca.
No.
Never ever.
Never.
Jamás.
Saying no to my friends was impossible.
No.
But after trying the new McDonald's chicken selects, everything changed. These juicy 100% chicken breast strips with buffalo sauce are so out of this world that I gotta say no if I'm gonna have any. I'm loving it.
Nada.
Assurance in rain means Goodyear's deeply carved aqua chutes propel water away from your tread. Assurance on ice means Goodyear's interlocking treads deliver gripping power. Assurance on dry pavement means Goodyear's reinforced shoulders give you confident maneuvering. The revolutionary new Goodyear Assurance with triple tread technology for assurance in any weather on the wings of Goodyear.
Discover the amazing training secrets of Baseball World's dynamic practice organization video, featuring professional scout and instructor Tommy Mansky and his famous step-by-step building block approach to athletic training. These are the same techniques that have produced Baseball World's back-to-back-to-back AAU national championship teams. Parents, players, and coaches are amazed at the rapid improvement of students using these principles, enhancing arm strength, running speed, quickness, and agility. Dynamic practice organization works for all ages and levels of ability and makes a great gift too. Order now.
Ooh, look. Dear Prilosec OTC guys, 1 pill a day, 24 hours, 0 heartburn? How's that work? Signed, the frequent heartburn guy next to you.
Whoa. Here's how. It's the only OTC that directly shuts down lots of those acid-producing pumps in your stomach. That's why it's the only OTC that can work for 24 hours with 1 pill a day.
Awesome. Prilosec OTC. 1 pill a day, 24 hours, 0 heartburn.
6-0 Cardinals, and there's a fan holding up his sign, Murderer's Row.
And I think it's apropos here because these guys are an offensive hitting machine.
An appellation originally given to the 1927 New York Yankees of Ruth Gehrig vintage. There's ball 1 from Descends to Reggie Sanders. Sanders popped up his first time. Well, with 2 down and nobody on, the Cardinals got a home run by Walker, and now 5 runs have scored in this inning since there were 2 down with nobody on. And Sanders with a count of 2-0. Now Elmer Descends, after he came over to the Dodgers from Arizona, was being used as a reliever until last Saturday. He started the game against the Giants, in which the Dodgers clinched the division title. He went 4 innings in that game. Sanders with a pop-up. Shallow center. He's Torres. And he's got it. Between the second and third outs, the Cardinals scored 5 runs. In a moment, we'll chat with Tony La Russa from the dugout.
Last time on Dream Job.
Scared the living hell out of me. If you don't get better than that, you'll be home soon.
First to go was Casey, then Valerie. This week, 1 will be cut, and your vote counts. Dream Job at a new time. Midnight Eastern, 9 Pacific, tonight on ESPN.
At work, Fred Parker eats a Snickers to keep going.
Packed with peanuts, Snickers handles hunger to keep Fred on the go. Feeling rejuvenated, he calls his wife to tell her he'll be working late, but accidentally dials a radio station. The ninth caller, Fred wins a trip to St. Louis. While visiting the Museum of Natural History, a hanging pteranodon unexpectedly falls. Fred pushes a man out of the way. It's star running back and paleontology buff Marshall Faulk. Out of gratitude, the Rams changed their name to the St. Louis Freds. Eat a Snickers and have an NFL team named after you. Make it happen with Snickers.
I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. Across the deserts bare, man. I breathe the mountain air, man. I travel, I've had my share, man. I've been everywhere.
This fall, Choice Hotels makes it easy to see the world. After just 2 separate stays at any of these Choice Hotels, you'll earn a free night with Choice privileges, and there's no limit to how many nights you can earn.
I've been everywhere.
For reservations, visit choicehotels.com. Choice Hotels. We'll see you there.
6-0, the Cardinals lead the Dodgers. I'm John Miller with Joe Morgan, and we're pleased to be joined now by the manager of the Cardinals, Tony La Russa from the dugout. Many thanks, Tony, for coming on with us.
Hi, John. Tony, I was going to ask you this last inning, but it changed a little bit. Did you have any concerns going into this ball game because your team had not hit well the last couple of weeks?
Well, we faced good pitching, but you know, our guys, really tough division, so we've been keyed up for a long time, and that's what the playoffs. So you feel like we're going to respond.
Tony, 60 pitches for Woody Williams early on here. Do you have a pitch number in mind you'd like to keep him within? Or?
Well, he's strong and he's got extra rest. You know, we're going to watch him. When he starts to look like he's different, we'll get him. But you know, right now, one of the biggest winning keys to get that shutdown after a score. So let's get 3 this inning.
All right, Tony, we'll let you get back to work here. Many thanks.
That's one of the other reasons I like Tony La Russa. You know, you asked him about a pitch count, and he wanted to say what pitch count. We're trying to win a playoff game, and we'll just watch him, you know, which I think is what you do. You watch a guy. He may be as strong at 110 pitches as he was at 20, or vice versa.
Adrian Beltre leads off for the Dodgers, and a foul ball. Strike one. Beltre hit a single his first time. On a broken bat, Sean Green and Milton Bradley will follow. Well, when Beltre was on deck in the 3rd inning, there was a runner on base. Finley was at the plate. The score at that time was 1-0. Now it is 6-0, and he is thrown out by Scott Rowland. Now, Beltre is a very fine third baseman, and he's a young guy, still getting better. But it'd be hard to say that there's anybody as good or definitely not better than Scott Rowland around.
Yeah, I mean, the unfortunate part is we don't see a guy play every single day. But, you know, when you watch Scott Rowland, you say he's the best. And then you measure everyone against Scott Rowland.
So 1 down, and here is Sean Green. Green flied out to shallow left his first time. And that is in there for a strike. 6 runs, 5 hits for the Cardinals. 3 home runs to St. Louis already. And Larry Walker, Albert Pujols, Jim Edmonds have all gone deep into left center. And over to make the catch is Reggie Sanders. So 2 men are gone here in the 4th inning. And that will bring up Milton Bradley.
John, when I talked to Jim Tracy this morning, you know, about Milton Bradley and the problem that he had, you know, where he was suspended. And we asked him, was there any thoughts of him not playing in this series, you know, once he was reinstated? You know, Jose Guillen was suspended for the entire postseason. He said there was never any thought of him not playing, you know, as soon as his suspension was up. And he went on to tell us, you know, his relationship with
that
Milton Bradley.
Is a base hit in the left center field for Bradley.
And I came away from that room thinking that Milton Bradley has a friend in Jim Tracy. Jim Tracy is basically saying that he's going to do whatever is necessary as we see the incident that caused him to be suspended for the last week of the season. And obviously Bradley was very upset. A lot of things went on that day. But Jim Tracy says he's going to give him every benefit of the doubt. He's going to work with him and make him better. And he was happy. He said that Milton Bradley came out last week and says, I have a problem. I need help. And obviously, as we all know, that's the first sign, you know, if you admit that you have a problem, to get help. But he says that he's going to help him. And like I said, I came away from there just knowing that he has a friend in Jim Tracy. And I think that that relationship is going to make it much better for Bradley, because I know if I was in that situation, I would not want to let Jim Tracy down, because he has shown support. He's been there for Bradley. And I mean, he still out there, you know, trying to help smooth over what happened last week. So I expect that it's going to be better. And remember one thing about Bradley. He had a lot of problems early in the year. He promised Jim Tracy he wasn't going to get kicked out of a game again. And guess what? He did not get kicked out of another game until the incident last week. So I think that he does appreciate Jim Tracy's friendship, and I think he's going to respond to it.
Alex Cora, the hitter, and back to the screen. 0-2 the count, because, I mean, Bradley has had run-ins in the past with other ball clubs. In fact, that's why he is a Dodger now. The Cleveland Indians, just before the start of the season, finally, after another incident, said, that's it. He is no longer on this club.
And those were confrontations with the manager, which, you know, is similar to what Guillen had. And Tracy said he has not given him one problem this year from a managerial standpoint.
Bradley steals the bag, and he steals it rather easily. The throw taken in front of the bag by Renteria, no tag.
And I know a lot of people say, well, why do you steal a base 6-0? Well, I think that's the way you do things. You continue to play your game. You get one here, one there. You don't always have to go for the big inning to get all 6 of them back at once. We're only in the 4th inning, so you have plenty of outs yet left. Use them wisely, and that means, you know, doing a few things to manufacture runs.
And Alex Cora, who is an awfully tough hitter with 2 strikes. He's one of those pests, one of those guys who can elevate a pitch count.
Well, one final thought on Bradley from me. Fans should never throw bottles on the field. We all know that. But a player should never react with a fan in the manner in which he reacted.
That will go out of play. Another foul ball. Let's go to Gary Miller.
John and Joe, a couple of things about that as you saw the incident. Now, Milton learned from the incident with the Rangers. He didn't throw it into the stands. He threw it down. Tracy thought that was a big distinction. And Milton came to his teammates when he knew he'd be reinstated for the postseason and apologized to them as a group, and they have welcomed him back. And obviously, he's a chance now to get something on the board.
He's at second. 1-2 the count. The big curveball in there. Strike 3. Bradley stranded at second. And the Cardinals are coming up again. 6-0 St. Louis. Matheny, Williams, and Womack coming up.
Don't blow Saturday with an ordinary nut. Put out the good stuff. Planters.
He went to his doctor and asked about Cialis. And that's exactly what she had in mind. Ask your doctor if Cialis is right for you. Cialis, are you ready?
Step up and get your Goodyears. Get to Goodyear's American Dream Tire Sale for low prices on Goodyear tires. Buy 4 selected Goodyear tires and get a $50 U.S. savings bond. Get more bang for your buck. Get your Goodyears today.
Don't blow Saturday with an ordinary nut. Put out the good stuff. Planters.
On the next, I'd do anything. It's a dangerous race to the end zone.
That is a sick joke.
Bring on the bees.
Oh my God. Bugger just got me to nap.
And soccer goals from 5,000 feet.
That was the scariest feeling I ever had. I was scared like a schoolgirl.
I'd do anything. Tonight at 10 p.m. on ESPN. Risking it all for someone you love.
My husband.
My wife is the undisputed, unrivaled
World champion, the king of procrastination.
I said, honey.
We need life insurance. And he said, definitely.
Give me a second. Give me a minute. Give me a break.
And a day later, he said, I'm calling today. And a week later,
she says, oh, I'm going to call them right now. So as usual, I just did it myself.
I called One Life Direct.
Call us now and save up to 70% on term life insurance.
Just describe your situation, and in about 5 minutes, you'll have your quote.
I got a quote in 5 minutes. Imagine that, honey.
Completing a task in 5 minutes.
$300,000 worth of coverage can run just $20 $26 a month.
We want every family to have affordable life insurance.
One Life Direct can save you money too. We've written over $90 billion of coverage.
One Life Direct made it so simple.
One call, one advisor.
One quick quote. Best part about it was,
I only had to ask them once.
Your life, your terms. One Life Direct, a Bank One company.
Coming back here into the Cardinals' fourth inning. Matheny just hitting one over the reach of the left fielder, Jason Worth. And in the fourth inning, the Cardinals have hit their fourth home run and now lead 7-0.
I was talking to Tony Russo before the game. One of the things he said to me is that, Joe, these guys are excited, meaning his players. They're excited to go out here and play today. And that makes a big difference. A little breaking ball. Matheny went out and pulled it off the sign in left center field. Well, straightaway left.
Now Woody Williams. Man, the Dodgers may be a little shell-shocked right now.
Well, I tell you what, whoever pitches against this Cardinals team is going to get shell-shocked at some point. You know, most of the time you say, well, we can't outscore them. Well, I think you're going to have to if you're going to beat them in a series. You're not going to shut this offense down. They're that good. And as I said before, they hit good pitching. So even when you have a very good pitcher out there on the mound, he's pitching well, you still are going to give up something.
1 ball, 2 strikes the count to Woody Williams, and the slider is in the dirt for a ball. 2-2. You know, I think that's ultimately the reason why they got Larry Walker, right? I mean, they were way ahead in the standings when they got Walker.
Yeah.
But suddenly you take a formidable lineup and you add a guy who's been an MVP and still an outstanding hitter. I mean, who can stop these guys? That may be the theme of this postseason. If today is any indication, the foul out by Woody Williams, that is the first out of the inning. Mike Matheny with a home run to start the inning. Let's have another look, Joe.
Well, it's a breaking ball away, but it's up a little bit on the first pitch of the innings from DeCenz. And Matheny reaches out and pulls it right off the Bank of America sign there in left field. But this, again, is, you know, I don't think I can say enough. I think, John, we've been working together a long time. I've never said to you that I believe one team is going to win the World Championship. I think anyone who is in the playoff, they all have a chance. I think that's the great thing about this championship this year. I mean, anybody can host the trophy at the end of October here. But I think these Cardinals are the team that's going to have to, that you're going to have to beat to get that championship trophy. I think they will make it to the World Series.
A ball and a strike to count to Tony Womack. Cardinals have won a few World Series over the years. Down the left field line, twisting toward the corner and in amongst the customers down there. So the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes to Tony Womack.
I think if you look at the American League, I mean, the Angels are probably the most similar to the Cardinals as far as I'm concerned. You know, they make things happen on the bases. They have good hitters. They have, you know, for average, they have some power. They have everything. Boston is just a great hitting ball club, but they do not have nearly as much speed as the Cardinals do.
In left field, there is Worth, and that is out number 2. 2 men gone. Walker coming up. Let's go to Carl Ravitch.
All right, John, Joe. Anaheim has Vlad Guerrero, as Joe just talked about that offense, but neither Los Angeles or St. Louis or Anaheim has Kurt Schilling. He'll be pitching for Boston as they get set to battle at 4 Eastern.
All right, that's coming up. Here's Larry Walker, and he started that 5-run 3rd inning rally with 2 down and nobody on when he hit the first pitch he saw from Odalis Perez for a booming home run. And then that just seemed to open the gates, and the Cardinals just came storming through. 5 runs would score before the inning ultimately would end. They lead now 7-0. Walker with a high pop foul off the left field line. I agree with you, Joe, that Anaheim may be the most diverse attack.
Right. Yeah.
Where they get speed, they go from first to third, they score from second on singles. A few guys can hit the ball out. They had the great player, right, Vladimir Guerrero. The Yankees are loaded with just power up and down the lineup, but it's not that diverse kind of a lineup, although Jeter does all of those things well.
No, I think, look, like I said, any team can win. The only difference, you know, if you're going to, say something, as Carl said, Curt Schilling is a dominant pitcher. Pedro can be. Johan Santana can be. But basically, we have a lot of really good pitchers and only a couple, that can dominate the other team.
Strike 3 call to the inside corner. Walker retired. One more run for the Cardinals. First 4-homer game in National League Division Series history.
Hanging out with my good friend. Days like these should never end.
Yeah, come on, let's get out of here.
When the quality of your beer matches the quality of your friends, it's easy to lose track of time. Sam Adams Light, the taste of good times.
Introducing 7-Up Plus. With 7-Up, fruit juice, calcium, vitamin C, and a refreshing berry flavor. It's getting so much attention, it's blushing. Try new 7-Up Plus. When you add it all up, the only way to go is up.
Game Boy Advance SP, now only $79.99.
Sorry, I was driving too fast.
No, my fault. You must be gelling, like Magellan.
Dr. Scholl's massaging gel insoles are so soft, they make any shoe feel outrageously comfortable. Are you gelling? Dr. Scholl's.
My friends say I look distinguished with thinning hair. Then again, they're my friends.
Get V for Men Thickening Shampoo with Virginium XY for up to 50% thicker looking hair for better scalp coverage. V for Men by L'Oreal Paris.
Log on to MLB.com to follow baseball live on the web with MLB.com's real-time stats, game day audio, and MLB.tv. MLB.com, where baseball is always on.
It's a wonderful night, you gotta take it from me. It's a wonderful night, come on and break it on down. It's a wonderful night, you gotta shake it from me. It's a wonderful night, come on and break it on down. That the spot will get hot, that it's ready to pop. Don't even look at the clock, come on and break it on down.
Find your Verve, the stylish Verve. 6 colors, 6 attitudes. Olympus, designed to do more.
ESPN's Major League Baseball Division Series, presented by Budweiser, brought to you by Janus, Get There, and Warner Brothers' new motion picture, Alexander, in theaters everywhere Wednesday, November 24th.
And there's ball 1 to Brent Mayne leading off for the Dodgers here in the 5th inning. The Dodgers are trailing 7-0. And again, to make the point that we've started when the inning ended, the Cardinals are the first team ever to hit 4 home runs in a National League Division Series game. And they've hit 4 in the first 4 innings. That's a strike from Woody Williams to Brent Mayne. 2 balls and a strike. Joe, you were talking about some of the other teams in this year's postseason tournament. That misses for a ball. And the Cardinals have a little bit of everything.
Right.
I mean, they have a lot of most things.
Again, you only have, in my opinion, maybe 3 and 4 at the most dominant pitchers, who can go out and, say, shut a team down. But I don't know if they could shut the Cardinals down. Most of those guys are in the American League anyway, the ones we're talking about.
Well, that brings up another point, though. And you mentioned Schilling and Pedro and whatnot with the Red Sox. Tomorrow night, or tomorrow afternoon, in Atlanta, the Houston Astros take on the Braves, and they got a guy named Roger Clemens going in Game 1. And then Roy Oswalt in Game 2, a 20-game winner, the only one in the National League, as Renteria makes the catch. Brent Mayne is retired. There is 1 away.
But we have to wait and see. Oswalt has not pitched in the postseason. Not that he won't do well, because I think he will, because he's a very tough competitor. We know Roger Clemens can pitch well in the postseason. I still think that whoever wins the World Championship is going to have to end up beating the Cardinals. That's the way I view it. But I mean, that's not to say that they can't, because, again, I believe that all the teams, we've seen this in the past few years. The Marlins, no one expected them to win. The Angels, I mean, anybody can win. I mean, I think that's what makes this postseason better than some of the rest, even though I would still like to have a couple of dominant teams where we're all chasing them and trying to get better to beat them.
Grabowski is the pinch hitter, by the way. Jason Grabowski. with Duaner Sanchez warming up in the LA bullpens. Grabowski is pinch hitting here for Elmer Descends in the 5th inning. 7-0, the Cardinals lead. Grabowski chases one. Matheny in foul ground, and that is out number 2. But you know, it's kind of amazing in the National League. I'm John Miller with Joe Morgan. It's amazing how Houston had to go right to the last day, needing a win, and yet they end up as the wild card team, and everything sets up perfectly for them. They got the 2 top-notch starters, Roger Clemens and Roy Oswalt, and they both go right away. Clemens with a couple of extra days of rest, and Oswalt right on his normal schedule.
Well, I think everything fell into place for them, and maybe they need that, because remember, Atlanta has eliminated them every time they've been in the postseason in the recent history. I mean, every time they get there, they have to play, the Braves, and then once, I guess, the Cardinals. But the Braves always seem to beat them. This is a different Braves team, of course.
Well, I think they do need that, because those are 2 outstanding starting pitchers. But after that, because Andy Pettit's hurt and Wade Miller's hurt, it's kind of a scramble after those two guys. I mean, they had some guys who got the job done, but they also come in extremely hot to make the postseason under Phil Garner. Houston went 36-10 down the stretch. His tourist deep into right field, and off the glove of Larry Walker. He tried to make an over-the-shoulder catch, and it tipped off the glove. He's tourist into second base.
I thought he had caught that. I mean, look, he got there, and I guess, well, he didn't have his shades down, so I won't think the sun was in his eyes. Right here, he goes into the shadows. He's there, but I mean, he missed the ball completely. Like maybe when it came out of the sun and went into the shadows, he just lost it. The ball tipped right off the thumb of his glove.
His tourist gets his second hit. They're going to give him credit for a double.
And that's unusual right there for the Cardinals to make a mistake, because, I mean, I'm sure Larry Walker will tell you, he got there, he probably should have caught that ball.
I mean, Walker, for years, was the best right fielder in the National League. A guy won a lot of Gold Gloves. Jason Worth, and that is a called strike. Worth has a single to right, and he's popped up to third. Dodgers have a lot of time left to try and mount a comeback.
Right.
And they've got some power where they could cut into that lead more than just 1 run at a time.
Well, we've seen the Dodgers come back a lot in the last 2 weeks, and especially in the last week. Let's take another look at this ball from Walker. See, it's in the sun. It's in the sun. There it is, up there. And then, look, all of a sudden it goes, disappears, and I think Walker just kind of lost it as well.
Yeah, he seemed to have it gauged pretty much where it was going to come down, but he was not looking it right into the glove at that point, which makes me think he didn't see it when it got into the dark shadows out there. Ball 2 strikes to Worth. He's trying to get aboard here with Steve Finley coming up next. And he's chasing that breaking ball, and he just got a piece of that curve.
And that seems to be the pattern that they're throwing Worth a lot of curveballs and all-speed pitches, and then they jammed him with a fastball after they'd set him up with the breaking ball.
There's Duaner Sanchez, the right-hander, warming up in the LA bullpen. We'll see him in the last of the 5th against the Cardinals' big power hitters. Right now, Jason Worth trying to extend this inning, so the Dodgers' big power hitters have a chance to do some damage. Finley on deck, Beltre behind him. Fastball inside. As we mentioned earlier, Worth with a lot of family here today, all with big league backgrounds. His dad, Dennis Worth, former big league player, started with the Yankees. His uncle, Dick Schofield, former Angel, and Dick Schofield's dad, Ducky Schofield, and that one goes under the glove of Roland and down the left field line, and the Dodgers will get their first run home. And that's a couple of balls that have gotten past the Cardinals here with 2 down, and the Dodgers have a run.
Well, he threw him a changeup, and you're right. I mean, it looked like Roland reacted a little late, and that could be because all the sunlight, all the white shirts behind home plate, and you can see he couldn't quite get over there. And I think his knee bothers him a little bit on this play. You see, he can't quite get over there quick enough. And Worth has a double and an RBI.
And And now the big power hitters are coming up. There's Worth, his second hit. He gets the RBI. 7-1 St. Louis. Now Finley, who was popped to short, grounded to first. And a curveball hangs up and away. 1 ball and no strikes.
If you're going to make a comeback, you know, you get one here, a couple there, you're back in the game. But your pitchers are going to have to hold them down. They can't let them continue to tack on as the Cardinals did in the last half of the 4th inning.
Finley pops it up. Shallow left. Renteria out. Reggie Sanders in, and Sanders after a long run. Out number 3. So the Dodgers get just the one. 7-1 St. Louis. Pujols coming up.
If a homemade dune buggy can have an off-road suspension, if a solar car can use lightweight materials to increase fuel efficiency, if a vehicle this small can have incredible power, then why can't your truck? At GMC, our engineers don't just ask questions, they have answers. Introducing the mid-size GMC Canyon. Professional-grade engineering. It's not more than you need, just more than you're used to.
If it can happen, Liberty Mutual's planned for it. We have pre-approved contractors who can make emergency repairs within 24 hours. Liberty Mutual. It's more than insurance. It's insurance in action.
Remember, when you hit the water, I need you to hydroplane out of control. Remember, out of control. Cut! No, cut!
Tacky, fire the stunt driver.
The Michelin Hydro Edge with Michelin engineered hydro chutes. It's our best performing tire in its class. Michelin, because so much is riding on your tires. Michelin Hydro Edge tires are better than ever. Now backed by a 90,000-mile limited warranty. See your Michelin dealer today.
Will Bill Callahan's West Coast offense resurrect the Cornhuskers?
Does a condor rise from his own ashes?
Do you mean a phoenix?
ESPN College Game Day, built by the Home Depot. Saturdays at 10:30 on ESPN.
Hey, Howie, what are you doing? Sleeping? Wake up. Hey, Buckethead, get up. Hey, nice golf game today, little buddy.
Somebody, please stop the pain. He's killing my minutes. I need a wireless plan.
With Radio Shack's pain-free wireless sale, you get great deals on plans and phones, like this Sprint PCS Vision Picture Phone VGA 1000 by Samsung, just $49.99 after instant rebate with 2-year agreement.
Can you transfer all the numbers except that one?
Radio Shack.
Game 1 of the National League Division Series between the Dodgers and the Cardinals. We're at Busch Stadium, St. Louis. The Cardinals 7, the Dodgers 1, and the Dodgers bring in the 3rd pitcher of the game. Here is Duaner Sanchez. Sanchez to face Albert Pujols. So he has to run the gauntlet right away. There'll be no easing Duaner Sanchez into his first postseason game. First batter he faces Albert Pujols, then Scott Rowland, then Edgar Renteria, and after that Jim Edmonds.
And again, Dale Scott with that low pitch. He's called it a strike all day.
Pujols has homered and singled. Too low that time. 1 ball, 1 strike. This guy throws pretty hard. A lot of movement. Duaner Sanchez.
John, I talked to Tony La Russa before the game about would he manage any differently than in a 5-game series than he would, say, a 7-game series. I said you've managed in both.
There's a pop-up. And the shortstop is Turris on the infield grass for out number 1. So Pujols retired for the first time.
And he said, I wouldn't manage any differently in this than a 7. He said, both are short series. He said, I will manage every game like it's the 7th game of the World Series, like this is the game. So that was interesting to hear. You know, a lot of times, you know, managers say, well, you know, I'm going to see what happens after the first game, see where we go from there. But Tony said, nope, he was going to manage this like it was a 7th game.
Now Scott Rowland. Rowland has fouled out to first and walked. And that's ball 1. Well, that's interesting because I remember Joe Torre, when he got into the postseason with the Yankees in '96, he said the one great thing that Don Zimmer did for him as a manager, Zimmer was his bench coach. That's a check swing. Did he swing? No, says Greg Gibson, the first base umpire, when he had a decision to make in one of the games in the postseason that year, Zimmer said, this is different than the regular season. You got to make it happen now.
Right. And that's true.
And Torre said that was the best advice he ever got in terms of managing postseason. I think Joe Torre's put on several clinics in terms of how to handle a staff and make moves right now to make sure that things don't happen maybe when your team's on the field. 3-0 the count, but it sounds to me like that's what La Russa is also saying.
But, you know, one of the tough things to do, though, is to balance everything, John, because if you're a player, you know, I've always said you can't say this is just another game. Anybody that tells you that this is just another game, being a playoff game, they've never won anything. Your intensity level has to increase. You have to be a little more aware of everything, yet you don't want to be trying to overachieve. You know, one of the great things is you have to be able to just go out and stay within yourself. Play the game the way you're supposed to play it. Don't try to do too much. You know, don't try to hit a home run in the first inning, although Albert Pujols makes that look stupid, but these guys did that today. But normally you go out, you just try to do what you do best, and you'll find that things will work out pretty well for you if you're a good team. And obviously the Cardinals are a good team. All the teams in the playoffs are good teams. So I think that's a key, is not try to do too much. If you're a hitter, do not try to do too much if you're a pitcher. You're not out there to strike everyone out, and hitters aren't out there to hit a home run on every pitch. So you just have to do what you do best, and I think you'll find out that everything else will fall into place.
3-2 to Scott Rowland with Edgar Renteria on deck. The Cardinals have a 7-1 lead. Right to the shortstop. He's Turris, who was pulled over into the hole. 2 men gone here in the 5th inning. So Sanchez comes into the game, his first postseason game, and he retires Pujols on a pop-up and Rowland on a ground out. Maybe they should have started this guy.
Yeah, but one thing that'll happen here, if he continues to pitch well, you know, say an inning or two, I think you'll see Jim Tracy get him out of there, because he feels like maybe this guy can handle this situation, and I might need him tomorrow. I might need him in a tougher situation when the score is closer.
2 down, nobody on. Edgar Renteria had a big hit in that 3rd inning rally, a 2-run double. The score was 2-0 with 2 outs and 2 men on, and he ripped a double down the left field line and got 2 more home.
And remember, I was wrong, John. Remember, this is the split series where they will take tomorrow off, so the second game will be Thursday.
This is the one series where there's a day off after each of the first 2 games. Everybody else plays 2, then has a day of travel before reconvening. This series, 1 game, a day off, game 2, then the travel day. I thought they did that because you asked for it, Joe, to help our TV coverage. 2-0 the count to Renteria, and that's outside. 3-0.
You know what's funny is that, remember a few years ago it used to be 2 games at one park and then 3 in the other. And now it's 2-2-1, which I think is a much fairer way to do it and a much better way to do it.
And that's ball 4. So Renteria gets a walk in front of Jim Edmonds, who hit a home run his last time.
You know, most of the talk, has been about Rowland and Pujols as far as MVP. I still think that Jim Edmonds has been a very, very integral part of this ball club this year. And I mean, look at the numbers. And remember one thing, the other 2 guys are right-handed. What he has done is help from the left side. And that's why they wanted to acquire Larry Walker. They needed another left-handed bat for this lineup. And the reason they wanted Tony Womack is they needed another left-handed bat in the leadoff spot.
2 down, Renteria aboard, and Edmonds at the plate.
Let's not discount what he has contributed to this ball club also.
Well, when you look at his on-base average, he had a .418 on-base average, a .643 slugging percentage. I mean, he's right there with anybody in the league except for Barry Bonds, who's sort of in his own league.
Yeah. I don't think, Barry plays fair, at least, he doesn't. Well, I don't think he plays fair because he intimidates everybody so much.
He walked 232 times this year. That was 62 more walks than even the Babe ever got. in his walkingest season. 1 ball, no strikes to Edmonds. He has struck out and homered. Well, all of a sudden, Sanchez, after getting the first 2 guys, can't throw a strike. This is the home run. This was the first pitch he saw from Perez in the 3rd. And into the bullpen in right center. And he took a bow.
And you know what I like about the Cardinals? They reluctantly take bows, John. They do not want to come out. They don't want to excite the other team or maybe show the other team up. But the fans demand it, and they do eventually come out.
That's a foul out of play. 2-1 to Edmonds. We're in the last of the 5th inning at Busch Stadium, St. Louis. Game 1 of the National League Division Series. The Dodgers and the Cardinals. The Cardinals jumped ahead in the 1st on a home run by Albert Pujols. And then the explosion in the 3rd. A homer by Walker, a 2-run double by Renteria, a 2-run homer by Edmonds. That knocked Odalis Perez out of the box after only 2 2/3 innings. Later, Matheny hit a home run in the 4th. The Cardinals are leading 7-1 here in the last of the 5th.
And John, I'm looking around here, you know, it's a sea of red every place. Just think if the Anaheim Angels were to play the Cardinals, we wouldn't know whose fans were dominating the crowd. I mean, I was in Oakland over the weekend with them playing the A's, and there's so much red there.
3-1. And the fans are unhappy that Edmonds had to go down like that. You know, I always thought that was a Midwestern thing. That California was a little too hip for that.
Back.
You know? But Angels Stadium looks just like Busch Stadium now for a big Angels game. There goes the runner. That ball is ripped foul right past Dave McKay, the first base coach.
And there you see what we're talking about with Tony La Russa. He has a 6-run lead, but he doesn't think this game is over, and he doesn't think that he has enough runs. And I think that's the way to play it. You just keep playing hard until the game is over. And also, I think you get a little more leeway in the postseason. Even if you're ahead 7 or 8-0, you still have to continue to try to score runs. Because you only get one shot at the playoffs. I mean, you got to win or go home.
Well, and La Russa knows better than anybody the Dodgers' ability to come back. There goes Renteria. And strike 3. 1 walk, 1 left. Now the Dodgers' big sluggers will come up. Beltre, then Sean Green. 7-1 St. Louis.
ESPN puts the spotlight on the highlight with ESPN 25 the book. Available now.
For the past few years, my mom has been the team mom. She likes to knit a lot. She watches very closely what we eat.
Boys, what is this?
And of course, she makes sure we eat our Campbell's chunky soup, like new savory beef pot roast.
How about those big chunks of beef and veggies?
Our team's a family, and she's the mom.
Campbell's Chunky. It fills you up right.
On this island, everyone has a secret.
She's dangerous.
And some will stop at nothing to keep it.
Rescue ain't coming.
No one's going to tell them anything.
So we lie.
See why Lost is being called the best new drama on TV.
Can't you put him out of his misery?
I am not a murderer.
You let her in there alone?
The #1 best new show.
She's got that gun.
What did you do?
An all-new Lost. Wednesday, 8/7 Central. Only on ABC.
Space Patriot commands you to come forth and give your issues.
I think that students shouldn't have to go to school if they don't want to.
Good times.
I think that someone should pay my car insurance.
Who's your daddy?
No more dependence on foreign oil. More dependence on olive oil.
10-4. Get it up for America. Vote on your issues and tune into Daily Download for erectile dysfunction updates. Space Patriot says, watch Fuse's Daily Download on Dish Network Channel 158.
The fastest sport on planet Earth, Latin soccer. Dish On Demand pay-per-view scores the best Latin soccer available on television. Don't miss your shot. Order today.
ESPN's Major League Baseball Division Series, presented by Budweiser. Brought to you by Campbell's Chunky Soup. With big chunks of meat and veggies, it fills you up right.
And there's Adrian Beltre taking a called strike from Cardinals right-handed Woody Williams. Beltre has singled and grounded out to third. And a curveball in there. Strike 2 call. Sean Green on deck. Beltre 48 home runs this year. He had never hit more than 23 in a season before, and it's always been kind of a disappointment in LA. Curveball outside.
John, a lot of people want to grab some of the credit for this ball club this year, the Dodgers, and a lot of people deserve some credit. But Jim Tracy deserves the credit simply because he has the same team that he had last year in effect, and he got more out of them. You're talking about Beltre, Izturis, Cora, all these guys. He got more out of them than anyone thought was there. So I think he deserves the credit. I mean, no one expected Beltre to go out and hit 48 home runs. I mean, they would have been happy if he'd hit 25 to 30. But from opening day, I remember the first game we did with him, he told me that this is going to be the year for Adrian Beltre, because he said, I've watched him in spring training the last couple of years. This year he is finding the gap in right center. He is doing so much more with the bat instead of trying to pull the ball. He said he's going to have that big year. He told me that it had to be like the third game of the season.
Loop out into shallow center, and that's a base hit.
And he knew he was going to get a lot of those. That's the second one in this ball game.
He just muscled that one out there. And Renteria still almost caught it, with also Womack going out there.
So my point is that I think that he deserves, Jim Tracy deserves all the credit, you know, for what this team has done. Other guys can be on the peripheral and get a little bit here and there, but I think he's been the guy that made all this happen. Even when the trade was made at the deadline, a lot of the players didn't like it. But he was the guy that kept them focused on forgetting what had happened. We still have to go out and play the game. And he got all his players to do that.
And they played real well after that trade.
Correct.
I mean, there was a line of thinking that was that the Dodgers might collapse now because some of their chemistry had been removed, but instead they actually got hot.
Yeah, and again, I credit Jim Tracy with that, because he said even when they traded for Finley and it meant that Bradley was going to move, he said the attitude of the players was still, we're going to go out and play well. And we're still going to get our job done. Even when Bradley moved, he wasn't upset. He said, we'll just go out and play. And they did. So, again, I mean, most people think that things are done outside the clubhouse, but a lot of that things are championships are won inside the clubhouse before you even get on the field.
That's a bloop into left field. And taken by Reggie Sanders. Sean Green is 0 for 3 in this game. Milton Bradley coming up. Let's go to Gary Miller.
John, as Joe was saying, Milton Bradley moved, and Steve Finley was rumored to a lot of teams around the trade deadline, but he made a clause that he said, I don't want to go to a team that's not going to play me in center field. He got that agreement from Jim Tracy. Bradley gave it over. When he came over to the Dodgers, he thanked Bradley for moving over, and Tracy gave him his number 12. Tracy's now wearing LaDuca's number 16.
All right. Now that makes the guy feel welcome, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Here's Bradley, and that, I think, you know, Bradley's had this checkered past,
right,
and he's had run-ins with management and whatnot in the past, but in this Dodger clubhouse he was an extremely popular figure.
Correct.
And they felt he was a total team player, and there's no better example than that.
Yeah.
0-2 to Bradley, who has had a walk and a single and a steal in this game, but quickly Woody Williams ahead of him. 0-2. Beltre the runner at first. Steve Klein up in the bullpen for the Cardinals. First bullpen activity for St. Louis. You saw the pitch count a few moments ago. It's up over 100 for Woody Williams. 2 strikes to count. Bradley fouls one back and out of play. 0-2 the count. But Joe, I know when you talked about this earlier with Guillen, with the Angels, had a run-in with his manager and basically challenged his authority.
Yeah, there's a big difference between what happened here, and I'm sure, you know, Cleveland will say, well, Bradley challenged our manager there. We made the same kind of movement that the Angels did. So that makes sense. But Jim Tracy said he did not have any problems, any run-ins with Milton Bradley.
You said that Tracy told you that sometimes he's had to go talk to Milton about certain things, but Bradley always said okay, and then made the change.
It was never a confrontation. You know, so I think that, again, I'll repeat what I said before. Bradley has a friend in Jim Tracy, and I think it's going to work out for them.
2-2 the count. Now, I know you said on Sunday when we were televising the Giants-Dodger game that maybe that this would be for the best for Bradley. This came to a head, and maybe that will work out for the best for him.
And then he realized himself, like you said, that he has a problem, you know, in anger management. So he's going to go and seek some help.
Reggie Sanders takes that one out, number 2. Well, the Dodgers playing the Cardinals here coming up on ESPN at 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 Pacific. The Boston Red Sox in Anaheim. Manny Ramirez up against Vlad Guerrero, the Red Sox, and the Angels from Angel Stadium. And Curt Schilling will try and keep the Angels down. They had quite a finish. The Oakland Athletics could not keep them down. Not with Mulder, not with Zito, not with Tim Hudson.
You know, the big thing there that last week, I think Vladimir Guerrero showed you what he's made of.
Man, that was one of the best final weeks anybody's ever had. That's into the alleyway for Alex Cora, and Edmonds will have to chase it to the wall. Coming around to score is Beltre, and Cora easily makes it to third with a triple. And the Dodgers make it 7-2.
Well, that's the point. You get one here, one there. Remember, you still have quite a few outs left. The greatest thing I ever heard in the playoffs was from Sparky Anderson. He said once to a team I was playing on, he said, use your outs wisely. Do not try to hit home runs. Just make sure you get the job done. Do what you're supposed to do. And that's what they're doing here. They're not all up there trying to hit the ball out of the ballpark. And another hit or two, and you're back in the ball game.
The Beltre scoring all the way from first, and Cora ending up at third. Talking with Glenn Hoffman, the third base coach, is Dave Duncan. The pitching coach for the Cardinals is out at the mound, chatting with Woody Williams. Unlike the other series, because of the Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday schedule, the Game 1 starter can pitch Game 4 on full rest on the 5th day. Every other series, if the Game 1 starter were to be used in Game 4, he would have short rest, only 3 days of rest. But that is a luxury for La Russa and Jim Tracy should there be a Game 4 in this series. Now Robin Ventura, the veteran, is going to pinch hit for Brent Mayne.
And this is why he kept 3 catchers.
Ventura, the veteran, and also a fine pinch hitter. Ventura with 13 pinch hits in 48 pinch hit at-bats, including 3 pinch hit home runs for LA this year. One of them was a grand slam. Chasing a high fastball quickly behind 0-2.
And this again is why he kept 3 catchers, so that if he pinch hits here for Maine, and then this at bat he comes around again in the 8th inning and he has to pinch hit again, then he would still have a catcher to catch the 9th inning. He figures he might have to pinch hit for his catching platoon for a couple of times a game.
Now Woody's staying up with everything here to Ventura, who keeps hacking at him, fouling him out of play. You see that they've faced each other many times in the past, and Ventura's had a lot of success against Woody Williams. A .433 lifetime average against him. A runner at third, 2 down, 7-2 St. Louis. This time up and away, taken by Ventura.
You know, John, I'm a firm believer in averages, you know, averaging out over the course of a long period of time or something. But I'm not as convinced that these averages hold up in the playoffs.
Strike 3 on the inside corner. So just the one for LA. 7-2 St. Louis. Sanders coming up.
Last time on Dream Job.
Scared the living hell out of me. If you don't get better than that, you'll be home soon.
First to go was Casey, then Valerie. This week, one will be cut, and your vote counts. Dream Job at a new time. Midnight Eastern, 9 Pacific. Tonight on ESPN.
Katie was sure of her cholesterol plan. She took medication, she ate right and ran. Yet it wasn't enough to get bad cholesterol low. What's this? I'm still here in the land of no. Switch to Crestor, her doctor said. You're not to blame. All cholesterol drugs simply aren't the same. When Crestor performed in a head-to-head test, its lowering effect was clearly the best. Crestor's proven effective. That's well understood. Would you like to try it? Why, yes. Yes, I would.
Ask your doctor about Crestor. Crestor is not for everyone, including people with liver disease and women who are nursing, pregnant, or may become pregnant. Simple blood tests are needed to check for liver problems. Tell your doctor about other medications you are taking, or if you experience muscle pain or weakness, as they may be a sign of serious side effects.
Since Katie switched to Crestor, her cholesterol's much less. With Crestor and diet, it's the land of success. Get your free trial today and you just might declare, I'm a Crestor success. Now you're getting somewhere.
From the creators of South Park.
Now I will bring chaos to the world. I've got 5 terrorists going southeast on Bakalakadaka Street.
On October 15th, they're fighting to put the F back in freedom.
Hey, terrorists! Terrorize this.
Team America World Police. Only in theaters, October 15th.
I'm looking for a job as an auto technician. I can fix cars. It's like a work of art to me. It's almost like a person. It's like giving a car a new heart, you know? You put a new engine in and you know it's going to be great. I went to school for diagnostics. I got my certification. You can find me on Monster.
How do you spend quality time with the family without spending a fortune? Why, with Wendy's 99-cent Super Value Menu. From our hot and juicy junior bacon cheeseburgers to freshly prepared side salads to cool, creamy Frosties, there's something for everyone. Wendy's, it's better here.
Log on to MLB.com to follow baseball live on the web with MLB.com's real-time stats, game day audio, and MLB.tv. MLB.com, where baseball is always on.
ESPN's Major League Baseball Division Series, presented by Budweiser, brought to you by Janice, Get There, and Warner Brothers' new motion picture, Alexander, in theaters everywhere Wednesday, November 24th.
And then next year, don't forget the major motion picture, Joe.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Well, I can't wait for that one. Alexander this November. Next November, Joe.
Actually, I've been waiting to see that. I saw
Number
it advertised in June or something.
Alexander?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it. Because I hear that he was great.
Yeah.
There's Tom Wilson now catching for L.A. Reggie Sanders leading it off here for the Cardinals. Cardinals lead the Dodgers 7-2 in the last of the 6th inning. Sanders, Matheny, and Woody Williams due up, although the Cardinal bullpen is working. So I think we've seen the last of Woody Williams. It was well over 100 pitches through 6 innings.
And especially if you want him to come back again in this series. If, you know,
Kiko Calero warming up in the Cardinal bullpen. So there's Woody. Probably finished for the day. He gave up 8 hits in 6 innings, but only 2 runs.
One of the great things about being a starter for the Cardinals, if you can hold the team down, the other team, for 3-4 innings, most of the time you're going to be ahead because they will score some runs for you.
Duaner Sanchez, that was a pretty nasty looking slider. And it is 2-1 to Reggie Sanders, who was thinking fastball there on a 2-0 count. Dallas Perez did not last long in this one. 2 2/3 innings. He gave up 6 runs and 5 hits. The Cardinals hit 3 home runs against him. Pujols, Walker, and Edmonds all went deep against Odalis Perez. 2-1. Slider, strike 2.
I have to tell you, I do not like left-handed pitching matchups against this Cardinals team. I really do not. I think that they are a very good ball club to handle left-handed pitching.
Well, and if you don't believe that, just ask Odalis Perez.
Yeah, or, you know, you can look at the statistics, but I just, you know, I don't look at statistics. I just look at the approaches of the players and how they approach left-handed pitchers.
Another breaking ball, and Sanders strikes out. There's one away. Now let's go to Carl Ravitch.
Hey, John, there he is. The good ship Boomer has landed in Anaheim. He's lecturing Kevin Millar on how to hit, and we'll see the Red Sox and the Angels. Actually, he's talking about facial hair with him.
All right, Boomer. Getting ready to bring you the Angels and the Red Sox from Anaheim. Curt Schilling in game 1. one thing when you have an ace like Curt Schilling going in game one.
Right.
I mean, it becomes incumbent upon him to go ahead and win game one.
True.
And that is a called strike, the low strike to Mike Matheny, who homered his last time. You know, you're talking about those lefties, Joe, and I know you don't have to look at the stats.
No,
but see, I like to look at the stats. And I saw Pujols with a 379 average against the lefties. Roland 371. Renteria 366. Jim Edmonds 330. Even Larry Walker 316. And I said, wow, these guys can put some damage on a left-hander.
Yeah. But John, the reason I'll tell you why I don't look at statistics like that during the postseason. Like I said, over the course of the season, averages do mean something. But in a short series, averages do not mean anything. And I like to watch the approach, watch how the hitters are hitting. If I see a right-handed hitter pulling off, trying to pull the ball down the left field line, I know he's not going to handle left-handed pitching very well because their ball naturally tails away. So when I watch these Cardinals, all of them are trying to go left center to right center. They're staying in the middle of the diamond. That means you're going to be able to handle left-handed pitching. That's why I like to watch it in person rather than look at those statistics.
2-2 now.
But sometimes I'm glad that statistics bear me out, but you know what I'm looking at. But
well, sometimes when you're looking at something, and then you're saying, "I wonder if the stats bear me out."
Right.
Call me.
All right, I'll do that. I'll do that.
Yeah. Because I love to sit and just look at the stats. I was sitting in the hotel. I know you wanted to talk on the phone and whatnot, but I said, "Not now, Joe. I'm looking at the stats."
But see, I just like to watch the hitters hit and watch the pitchers pitch. Of course, I can get enthused every once in a while in a great pitching matchup. I'm always enthused when the hitters are hitting.
Yeah. Well, this Cardinal team, I mean, it's just a fun team to watch.
Right.
Because there's just so many outstanding players. And whether they're on the field or at the plate, I prefer when they're at the plate. But, you know, for the real connoisseurs, when they're on the field, they're fun to watch. 3-2 the count to Matheny. Strike 3 called.
A little slide piece. Nice one.
He's got a good one.
Yeah.
Shown up first to Sanders and then again here to Matheny.
And I think that was one of those Matheny's. I'm going to look dead red. I'm looking for a fastball. I can't hit this slider anyway. Well, he just fools him and he just takes it.
That was a real hard, tight breaking slider.
Tight one. Real tight. That was more like a cut fastball. Just kind of moves across at the last split in second.
2 down. Here's Roger Cedeno pinch hitting for Woody Williams. And on the outside for a called strike. So Woody Williams went the first 6. He gave up 2 runs and 8 hits. And now the Cardinal bullpen's going to handle it from here. Roger Cedeno had been with the Mets. And another one, strike 2. Cedeno hitting .265. The Mets just wanted to get rid of him. And we're happy that anybody would take him off their hands. And he's been a very productive player for the Cardinals off the bench.
And especially was doing a good job even before they got Larry Walker to play every day. He was, you know, platooning a little bit and playing. And he adds another element of speed, you know, to this ball club.
There's Walker in the dugout. Cedeno used primarily as a left-handed hitter this year by Tony La Russa. He hit .280 batting left-handed. 1-2 the count. That's a solid base hit into center field. And that's the first base hit allowed by Juaner Sanchez in his 2 innings of work. The Dodgers bullpen is busy behind him.
Well, Cedeno is a switch hitter, but he just lays the bat out there, lines at the left center field. Doesn't try to pull it. Nice swing there. Barrel of the bat out front.
The Dodgers have their pitcher scheduled to lead off in the next inning, in the 7th inning. And they've got Mike Venefro, a left-hander, now up in the bullpen. And the Cardinals have a couple of lefties coming up here. There's Venefro, Womack, and Walker coming up, and it looks like they're stalling for time now. And in fact, here comes Jim Tracy up out of the dugout.
Interesting, but I guess Venefro, he's not going to use him more than just for 1 or 2 hitters anyway.
So Venefro's going to come in. A runner at first, 2 down in the 6th inning. 7-2 St. Louis. We'll be right back.
Sorry, I was driving too fast.
No, my fault. You must be gelling like Magellan.
Dr. Scholl's massaging gel insoles are so soft, they make any shoe feel outrageously comfortable. Are you gelling? Dr. Scholl's.
Introducing 7-Up Plus. With 7-Up, fruit juice, calcium, vitamin C, and a refreshing berry flavor. For those who like to drink positive. Try new 7-Up Plus. When you add it all up, the only way to go is up.
Get built-in walkie-talkie for instant connections, GPS capability for voice-guided directions, and wireless web services for info on the go. Now starting at just $24.99. Call 8888 Nextel to shop or find a store. Act now. Get the I-205 for only $24.99. Call 8888 Nextel now.
You have been a great audience, but I'm going to ask you to stay away from the chicken selects or I will have you forcibly removed from the stadium. You play a mean bass, but if I see you even look at these chicken selects again, you're out of the band. I want to play one last number for you. It's called My Girlfriend Jenny Left Me Because I Wouldn't Give Her Any Chicken Selects, and now she's real mad, but I'm real happy because I still have them.
These babies are new, and they're mine. Yummy.
If you can smell the chicken, you're too close.
The Cardinals and the Dodgers, for only the second time in the long histories of each of these ball clubs. They've been around a long time, since back in the 19th century. This is only the second time they've ever faced each other in the postseason. Of course, they're in the same league. It wasn't until recently that, I mean, relatively speaking, that they could have faced each other in the postseason. But the only other time was 1985, and what a postseason that was, as we see Mike Venafro's numbers for the year. Kind of a funky left-hander who specializes in getting the lefties out. But that 85 League Championship Series, Joe, most famous, I think, for that game-ending home run hit by Ozzie Smith in Game 5. The only time in Ozzie's Hall of Fame career that he ever ended a game with a home run. And, of course, the next game at Dodger Stadium, Jack Clark also hit a big home run that broke the backs of the Dodgers and broke the heart of Tommy Lasorda. Inside to Tony Womack, 2-0 the count.
I think that was interesting that year because La Russa really learned something that year. He had told me before the series started that Jack Clark wasn't going to beat him in any of those games.
We mean Lasorda.
Lasorda, yeah. And they got to L.A. and he went against his own rule. He had
at second base, and Cora will just tag Cedeno to end the inning. I'm going to have you get into that when we come back. Tommy Lasorda is here today. It's 7-2 Cardinals on to the 7th.
Assurance in rain means Goodyear's deeply carved aqua chutes propel water away from your tread. Assurance on ice means Goodyear's interlocking treads deliver gripping power. Assurance on dry pavement means Goodyear's reinforced shoulders give you confident maneuvering. The revolutionary new Goodyear Assurance with triple tread technology for assurance in any weather on the wings of Goodyear.
Somewhere out there, there are people who can sit down on the job. It's just not you. So get the all-day comfort of genuine Red Wing boots for people who work on their feet.
It's funny how you make decisions. Some decisions are easy, and some need a little help. So where do you turn for help when it comes to choosing your insurance agent? How do you decide who's going to help protect everything that's important to you? Don't leave that decision to chance. Look for a Trusted Choice agent. Trusted Choice agents offer you a choice of insurance companies.
Yeah, you're gonna be busy. Because right now, when you buy any 2 EA Sports 2005 games, we'll send you a 3rd game free. Download your coupon today at easports.com. Rated everyone.
Imagine bringing a catalog to life.
by customizing it for each team, printing it in each language, and personalizing it for each customer. Imagine using Xerox digital technology to do all this and having your responses increase by 40%. It's a nice image, isn't it?
There's Tommy Lasorda, the longtime manager of the Dodgers, Hall of Fame manager, here with the Dodgers in St. Louis. And his Dodgers are trailing 7-2 to the St. Louis Cardinals. And there is Kiko Calero on the pitch now in relief of Woody Williams. Kiko, 2.78 ERA. Look at that, Joe.
Yeah, look at this. 47 strikeouts, 45 minutes. Look at 27 hits only. I mean, he has done a fantastic job.
Ordinarily, Joe, I don't really pay attention to those kind of statistics.
Okay.
I just like to see how the guy's
pitch.
throwing. But that's an impressive body of work there for a young right-hander. I mean, I like to look at that hits versus innings pitch ratio.
Right,
Aesop Choi is the pinch hitter here. When a guy's giving up a lot less hits than innings pitch, you know he's tough to hit.
Exactly. And walks. He didn't give up many walks either. So he's the right guy for this situation. You have a 5-2 lead. You want someone to come in and throw strikes.
And he's got a very euphonious name.
Correct.
I mean, it kind of sings a little bit. Kiko Calero. And Tony Womack throws out Aesop Choi. There is one away. Well, we mentioned in the '85 postseason, the Dodgers and Cardinals met. Game 5, Ozzie Smith against Niedenfuer, and this was a game-ending home run, as Jack Mux said. Go crazy, everybody. And then in Game 6 at Dodger Stadium, with first base open, 2 men on, they pitched to Jack Clark, and the Ripper planted one way up in the seats, a 3-run homer. The Dodgers were ahead 5-4 or 5-3, whatever it was, and that put them behind, and that was as it proved to be the game-winning home run by Jack Clark.
You know, I've talked to Lasorda over his career. You know, you make a decision, you live with it, but there were a couple of things that he wishes he could do over. And that's one of them.
Cesar is tourist the hitter with a count of 0-2 now.
And I'll tell you the other thing I bet he wishes he could do over. 1980, they tried the Astros on the last day, and they had to play a one-game playoff, and he did not start Fernando Valenzuela because he was young, and he started a veteran pitcher, and the pitcher got beat up and knocked out, and Valenzuela went on and won like 12 games in a row, and he had won like 3 or 4 in a row then. There's Fernando.
Fernando working the Dodgers Spanish language radio with Jaime Jarín back to Southern California. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Izturis, who has a single and a double in this game. But you remember back in '85, Lasorda had just gone to the mound to talk to Todd Niedenfuer, and with first base open, he said, you know, you got to pitch around this guy. Don't throw him a strike. And he said he was hardly even back into the dugout when boom, out of the yard.
You know, that's that old don't give him a strike but get him out kind of thing, right? That doesn't work. Either you pitch to him or you walk him.
2-2 the count. Well, that was quite a series. The Dodgers actually had gone ahead 2-0 in that playoff. Oh man, look at that curveball from Kiko Calero to put away Cesar Izturis. That was a hammer.
Well, you're right. I mean, look at that ball start to go down. Once it starts biting, it just dives. And there you see the tight knit slider there. Too hard for anything else. That was, I mean, the tightness of it was, you know, all the breaking balls have a little hole in them. The sliders have a little hole that you can see because of the way the stitches rotate. That was a very tiny hole.
Here's Jason Worth, who has a single and a double and a run batted in. And a fastball for a strike on the outside. 7-2 Cardinals here in the 7th inning. And that slider misses. 1 ball, 1 strike. You know, that '85 playoff, the league championship series, Vince Coleman was the igniter at the top of the Cardinals batting order. And he got hurt and missed the last 3 games. He got caught under their mechanical tarp machine, and it hurt his leg.
Yeah, they used to have AstroTurf here, and the tarp would come up between home plate and the third base on the left side, and it would, like you said, it was mechanical, and it came up, and he was standing there, and it rolled and it caught his leg. And here you get a chance to see the replay, and clearly Jason Worth swung at that.
1 ball, 2 strikes. 2 down. Steve Finley would be next. Fastball away. But that was just a bizarre thing. And all of a sudden, here's this great base stealer, and this mechanical tarp roller gets him. But the Cardinals overcame that and won anyway. That is strike 3. Worth called out on strikes, and it's a very strong inning for Kiko Calero. Walker, Pujols, and Roller. The big guys are coming up.
Hey, Angie, you going to the post office? Hey, Ted, you going to the post office?
Do I know you?
Anyone go to the post office? Jeff. Ronnie? Connie. Isn't anyone going to the post office?
Hey, Chuck. Can't go to the post office? Go to USPS.com. Print the shipping label.
What about postage?
You can pay for postage, too, then hand the package to B.
The U.S. Postal Service is working for you.
Hey, Steve. Lunch?
Ball's in the air. Wave your outfielder off. Didn't you catch it? Heads up. Whoa. Good job. All right. Nice. See? Remember, you got to call it. I haven't thrown it yet.
Boys and Girls Clubs is the official charity of Major League Baseball. Together, they create a positive place for kids.
Let's go! Nate Johnson will do anything to have the perfect family vacation. Never pick up strangers.
Tell me you're not about to pick up a hitchhiker.
What would Jesus do? Now.
No! Did you fix the truck?
Need to trust it dirty. No! Hit the road. Can you hook a brother up, brother? Cedric the Entertainer. Johnson Family Vacation. Rated PG-13.
No offense, but if you can lose all the weight you want easily, Cortislim is not for you. I'm Dr. Greg Cinnamone, and this very special dietary supplement was formulated for people who struggle with weight and have all but given up. Research suggests that it may not be all your fault that you're overweight and that controlling specific hormones can produce results. Lose the weight by making Cortislim the scientific centerpiece of your diet and exercise routine.
Call 1-800-443-1256. That's 1-800-443-1256.
Welcome back. Just about 20 minutes before game time, Angels-Red Sox. A reminder that against the A's on Sunday and throughout the last month of the season, Vlad Guerrero may have won himself a Most Valuable Player award. What is it with the facial hair and the hair on top of the head? Everybody's getting set to be on ESPN2, folks, if this game were to start before the one you're watching ends.
All right, and we're looking forward to that ourselves here with the Angels and the bad Vlad going. Here's today's game track presented by Bristol Myers Squibb. Home run, Albert Pujols in the first, then Larry Walker, a home run in the third. And then finally, capping off a 5-run third-inning rally, Jim Edmonds into the bullpen in right center. That was the last pitch thrown by Odalis Perez. 2 2/3 innings and gone. The Cardinals had a 6-0 lead. And now here is Giovanni Carrara on the pitch for L.A. He is the 5th pitcher of the day utilized by manager Jim Tracy. And he also, Joe, has come in and faces big sluggers right away.
But I think he has some equipment to cause him some problems. He has a good breaking ball, a lot of off-speed pitches, and he also has a good enough fastball that he can throw it in certain, fastball count. So he's equipped to handle these right-handers. I don't know about Larry Walker and maybe Edmonds, but he is equipped to handle Roland, Pujols, and Renteria.
Carrara to face Walker, who is 1 for 3 in the game. Walker's actually struck out a couple of times, but when he didn't strike out, he had a long home run. Larry Walker, his first postseason as a Cardinal, with Albert Pujols on deck, and that's up and away. 1 ball and no strikes. You know, Walker got the treatment that all the new stars seem to get when they come to St. Louis. In his first at bat in this ballpark, he got a standing ovation, and then he stepped in and he homered, just like Will Clark did. When was that? 3-4 years ago, Will Clark came here, and Will Clark helped the Cardinals get to the postseason, and he just did a great job for them. And then when it was all over, he retired. Went out on top. That ball is hammered high and deep into right center field, and that one is gone. Another home run for Larry Walker. The 5th home run of the day for the St. Louis Cardinals, and Walker has 2 of them.
Down there is nothing like day baseball to get the hitters excited. I guarantee you they love playing in the daytime.
Here's Albert Pujols now, but they want Walker to take a bow. Curveball too high. Is still on their feet. They're hollering for Larry. Here he comes.
And again, he reluctantly comes out. I don't think the players like to do that.
Right to the shortstop. He's Torres, and he throws out Pujols. Pujols is now 2 for 4. He started the whole home run parade with that first inning home run to deep left center.
There's a fastball, looked like it's pretty much in the middle of the plate, not a lot on it. As belt high and in the middle, and when Larry hits it, he knows it's gone. John, the other thing I was saying earlier, how great I thought the Cardinals fans are. The reason I think they're great fans is they also cheer the opposition. If the opposition makes a great play, they will give that the adulation that is due.
High and tight to Scott Rowland.
And Scott's the only one that doesn't have a hit. But he has contributed by walking and scoring a run.
He has fouled to first, grounded to short, but in between times he drew a walk in that 5-run 3rd inning. 8-2 now. The Cardinals are leading Game 1 over the Dodgers. Scott Rowland had quite a year. 124 batted in, and it likely would have been a lot more except for the injury problems. It kept him out of the lineup at the end of the year. 3-0 the count with Renteria on deck. Cardinals, by the way, have activity going in their bullpen. They've got their big hitters coming up in the 8th inning. I mean, they're big sluggers. Finley, Beltre, and Green all coming up in the 8th. But they're down by 6. Fastball for a strike. 3-1. Ray King, the left-hander, getting ready in the bullpen. You know, Joe, 5 home runs for the Cardinals ties the record for the most home runs by any National League team in any postseason game. Division Series, League Championship Series, or World Series. 3-2 now to Rowland, and he wasn't too happy with that call. Jim Edmonds has 1 today. Walker has 2. Three and 2 to Rowland. Fastball off the outside. Of course, Rowland, he kind of grew up coming to Busch Stadium.
Yeah.
I mean, he would see games in Chicago, but his favorite was when his dad and the family would come down here to St. Louis for a ball game. And this is his part of the country. He feels real at home here. Edgar Renteria now, who has walked, stolen a base, has hit a 2-run double, and then he walked his last time. So he's 1 for 1. He's been on base 3 times. And that slider is in there for a strike at the knees. 0-1 the count. Well, seeing the Cardinals at their best today is quite a statement they've made here to the Dodgers. With the 5 homers, but it's 8-2. It's not 8-7. I mean, so far they haven't needed all those home runs, but you also have to remember the Cardinals led the National League in runs, the highest scoring team in the league, but also they gave up the fewest runs. So they could be either way.
Actually, they gave up a run, John, in the 9th inning of their final game, which allowed the Atlanta Braves to win their earned run average title as a team. They were
in earned runs, but in actual runs, they gave up fewer.
Yeah. It's interesting. That 1 run in the last inning. And it was a meaningless run, obviously.
That is foul. And Bruce Dreckman had to get out of the way of it.
It was interesting, John. He had his hands up already like foul ball already before he got there. I guess he was just hoping that it would hook foul and would hit him. Watch him put his hands up real quick there. Look at that. He stayed there as long as he could. Good job. I mean, he stayed there a long time.
One and two to Renteria. Jim Edmonds on deck. Last of the 7th. The Cardinals ahead 8-2. Another home run here in the 7th. This one by Larry Walker. And Renteria is retired for the first time. By the way, the last time that there were 5 home runs hit in a postseason game, let's take a look at that pitch, Joe.
That's a big curveball. I mean, the bottom fell out of it. Really off speed as well.
So Carrara gets the 2nd out of the inning, and here is Jim Edmonds. The last time a National League team hit 5 home runs in a postseason game, it was at Wrigley Field 20 years ago. The Cubs and the Padres. Rick Sutcliffe got a shutout over the Padres, and the Cubs hit 5 home runs behind him. And Sutcliffe hit one of them.
Well, I'm glad he pitched a shutout. I'm glad he wasn't the one giving up some of those home runs.
Bob Dernier hit one. Ron Cey hit one for the Padres. Gary Matthews hit 2. And Rick Sutcliffe hit one.
The Sarge.
And Sutcliffe hit a batter. He hit Tim Flannery. What a surprise. One ball, 1 strike to Edmonds. Edmonds has struck out twice in this game, but he also capped off that 5-run explosion in the 3rd inning with a 2-run homer to right center. 1 ball, 1 strike, the count to Edmonds. Scott Rowland, the runner at first. Foul tipped. Now the catcher Wilson runs out to chat with Carrara, even though he got a strike on that pitch. Eight to 2 St. Louis ahead here. They've been ahead big all the way through since the 3rd inning. The Dodgers will have Finley, Beltre, and Green give it their last shot to make an impression in this first game, coming up in the 8th. 1 and 2 strikes. Edmonds fouls one back to the screen. Remember, Edmonds finished the regular season going 1 for his last 29. And if nothing else, it might have hurt his MVP chances.
Right.
Of course, being on this Cardinal team with 3 different MVP candidates, I guess, hurts all of their chances.
Yes, it does. I think a lot of people are going to split their vote by that. I mean, you know, someone that would have voted for Rowland may end up voting for Pujols, and vice versa, and even Edmonds. So it's going to be difficult for one of the Cardinals to garner enough votes to win.
1 and 2 the count, and that's up and away.
Whereas then you look at the Dodgers, there's only one choice, and that's Beltre. You look at the Giants, there's only one choice, that's Barry Bonds. Yeah. So I think that the Cardinals will be hurt because they do have those 3 players there. But you never know. Since I don't get a vote, I don't even really have to worry about it.
You don't get a vote?
No, I don't get a vote.
Now, that's in the MVP. I mean,
correct.
November the 2nd, you'll have a vote. 2-2 the count. And that's outside. 3-2 now to Edmonds. Three balls, 2 strikes to Edmonds.
You know, one of the things I looked at, we were just talking about MVP. Pujols, we're always amazed that Barry Bonds doesn't strike out.
Yeah.
Pujols doesn't strike out either. 52 for the year.
Wow. There goes the runner. And Edmonds, base hit. And around to third goes Roland. First and third, 2 down. Sanders coming up. And let's go to the studio in Coral Rapids.
John, thank you very much. One of the best hitters in baseball, Manny Ramirez. You see his league-leading home run total. He's had good success against Jared Washburn just about 20 minutes away from the start of that game on ESPN2.
So, Southern California, well represented in the postseason this year with the Dodgers from the National League and the Angels from the American League. We mentioned it earlier. The first time since those two teams have both coexisted in the LA area that they both made the postseason at the same time. Here's Reggie Sanders, who is 0 for 3 in the game. He's popped up twice and struck out once. Roland at third, Edmonds at first. 2 down. 1-1. Remember, game 2 of this series will not be played until Thursday. They have the day off tomorrow. And they will reconvene Thursday evening. Joe and I, by the way, are heading for New York after this game. We're going to catch game 2 of the Yankees Twins tomorrow night on ESPN. 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, 5 Central. That's pulled foul. He got a slider right out over the middle of the plate, pulled it foul. 0-2 the count to Reggie Sanders. Joe, when we get to New York for game 2, Brad Radke versus John Lieber. And Lieber ended up having a very fine year for the Yankees after missing more than a year and a half because of his surgery. And Radke had the lowest ERA he's ever had with the Twins. And one of them will be pitching in a must-win situation. That's what happens in a best-of-5. I mean, you lose game 1 in a best-of-5 as Edmonds moves over to second base there on the wild pitch. You lose game 1 in a best-of-5. Game 2 is critical.
Well, yeah, you have to win 3 out of 4.
And you don't want to have to be in a spot to win 3 out of 3.
Right, exactly.
It's been done in these best-of-5s, but not very often.
Well, I think it was done in times when you would maybe have 3 games in your home park. You lose the first 2 on the road, then you'd have 3 maybe at your home park. But with the new format, 2-2-1, I don't think you're going to come back from a 2-0 deficit.
Well,
not very often anyway.
Boston did it last year to Oakland.
Yeah, that's Oakland.
And the Yankees did it to Oakland.
I know, that's Oakland. I mean, unfortunately for Oakland, they continued to do that.
1-2 the count, and very high. And those series ended up being great series with classic moments. Because Oakland got ahead 2-0, where everything was
more
magnified.
pressure.
With, you know, one little play here, one broken bat bloop there, and Oakland could have easily won either one of those series.
Well, they could have probably won. You know, they've lost 4 straight. They could have won 4 in a row. You know, all 4 of those with a break here, a break there.
2-2 the count to Sanders. The Cardinals already ahead 8-2, and they have runners at second and third with 2 down. Mike Matheny would be next. Carrara's given up 1 run on the homer by Walker to start the inning. Way outside. Full count now, 3-2. Tonight, Messina against the Twins, who go with Santana. And the conventional wisdom is that for the Twins to have a chance to win, Santana's got to win tonight.
Well, he's been winning consistently, so if you, he's one of those guys that can dominate.
And he's won with 13 in a row or something. He has been incredible. 3-2 the count to Sanders. Runners at second and third, 2 down. To shortstop. Turris was playing him into the hole, and he throws him out. Sanders a fast runner, but Turris got him. 2 men stranded. Walker's homer adds another run. His second homer of the game.
The WNBA playoffs, now playing on ESPN2.
We make every Budweiser with the highest quality ingredients. We brew every Budweiser to be the freshest beer. We make Budweiser. You make it the king.
He went to his doctor and asked about Cialis. And that's exactly what she had in mind. Ask your doctor if Cialis is right for you. Cialis, are you ready?
Rush into KFC for a game bucket deal. 6 pieces of extra crispy chicken and 6 honey barbecue wings. Plus a free half-gallon Pepsi Mega Jug, all for just $9.99.
Still have time?
Yeah. Only in Capital USA.
Do your living on the ground. Do your living on the ground. Do your living on the ground. Or make your living in the air. Freestyle air. Make your living in the air.
What will you do in the air? NBA Live 2005 with Freestyle Air. Rated E for everyone. EA Sports. It's in the game.
Hey, Siragusa, maybe it's your deodorant. Let's start over. No, not that one. This time start with Right Guard Power Stripe, the only one with a stripe of time-released odor fighters for protection that lasts till the end of the day. Right Guard. Start right and right.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent.
ESPN's Major League Baseball Division Series, presented by Budweiser. Budweiser, grab a cold, fresh Budweiser. It's game time.
Here in St. Louis, 8-2, the Cardinals lead LA as we go to the 8th. Meanwhile, if you're looking for the Angels and the Red Sox, that will begin over on ESPN2, and it will begin very shortly on ESPN2. Now let's go down to Gary Miller.
All right, John, I'm with Woody Williams, and you're never safe against this LA team that's one of the best comeback teams in baseball, but he stands to be the winning pitcher if things stay as they are. Woody, you came in spring training, couldn't pitch at all coming back from the shoulder. Awful April. You thought about retiring, and your wife talked you out of it. How does that contrast with what happened today?
It's just amazing the turnaround and where we are today. It's just a blessing to be able to throw in the playoffs and much less start game one.
What about that game one? You told me that Tony said that Friday would be you. Obviously, you had a lot of options there. Once Chris went down, it could have been anybody. How much did it mean to you to start this opening game?
It meant a lot that the organization and Tony had confidence in me, and I'm just glad I was able to go out there and keep the team in the game.
Steve Finley's been one of their big hitters. He hit the grand slam that got him into the playoffs. You faced him 3 times with men on. How crucial was it to get him out?
It was very big. I made a couple good pitches on him. I think I got away with one. But, over the last couple of weeks, I don't think there's been anybody hotter in the league than Steve Finley, and he's been a great addition to their ball club.
All right, now your team has put up 5 home runs, which ties the division series record. The Dodgers, I don't think, are watching this right now. How would you pitch to your team?
It's tough. You had to definitely hit the corners and move in and out, but you know, too many times the pitchers try to be too fine, they end up falling behind, and then next thing you know, you're down 3 runs.
All right, Woody, congratulations on a good outing today. Maybe he's on his way to his second postseason win, John.
All right, and our thanks to Woody Williams as Steve Finley is thrown out by Scott Rowland on a nice play. Remember, Finley's 39 years old, but he's still very fast.
Yeah, still runs well. But a great play by Rowland. The fact is, you know, we talked about him having the bad calf and a bad knee early in the year. I mean, it doesn't affect him fielding. Running straight across, makes the pickup and gets rid of it quickly. And retires Finley at first.
So Finley kept off the base pass, and here is Adrian Beltre in his first postseason game. Beltre's had 2 hits today. And Ray King, the third Cardinal pitcher, throws him a called strike, a fastball in there. King, 30 years old, and part of the Cardinals' deep depth in that bullpen.
Big addition to the bullpen from the Atlanta Braves.
Beltre hits a shot, but right to Renteria. That is out number 2. Now let's go to Carl Ravitch.
All right, John, just after 4 in the East, Curt Schilling just about 8 minutes away. He will take the mound for the Red Sox as they begin their series with the Anaheim Angels, opposed by Jared Washburn. Chris Berman and company set for the call, which will be on ESPN2.
All right, so if you've tuned in looking for that one, it will get underway on ESPN2. We're in St. Louis. 2 down, nobody on. Sean Green, the hitter, still looking for his first hit. And how about Beltre as you see Ray King's numbers for the year? Look at that. Hitters hit only 197 against him. And Tony used him in perfect situations for him. What you're talking about, Beltre, he hits the hardest ball he hits, finally hits a line drive. That tells you how tough it is to be a hitter in this game. He bloops in 2 off the handle, and then he hits the ball the way you're supposed to, and it's an out. And that's in there for a strike. That's why they'll have to savor those 2 bloops, one of them on a broken bat. Because then he just clobbered one, but right at Renteria. Ray King, you know, you look at the Cardinal bullpen, we saw Kiko Calero. Hitters hit 176 against him. They hit 197 against Ray King. Isringhausen, the closer, they hit 199 against him. I mean, this bullpen has just been superb. Strike 3. Ray King dispatches the 3 Dodger sluggers post haste. Last of the 8th coming up. 8-2 St. Louis.
On the next, I'd do anything. It's a dangerous race to the end zone. Bring on the bees and soccer goals from 5,000 feet. I'd do anything tonight at 10 p.m. on ESPN.
Can you throw in some water skis? Fishing rods?
Earmuff negotiators love emerald nuts.
The breakup we had has made me lonesome and sad. I realize I love you 'cause I
roll over with Fidelity and take control of your retirement. Our retirement specialists make it so easy, they'll even do most of the paperwork. Call 800-FIDELITY.
This fall, Bristol-Myers Squibb, the cancer community, and I will come together for a very special campaign called the Bristol-Myers Squibb Tour of Hope.
At Bristol-Myers Squibb, the race against disease never stops. This October, we bring that race out on the road to raise awareness about cancer research and the importance of clinical trials. Follow the Bristol-Myers Squibb Tour of Hope team and Lance Armstrong in this historic ride.
Hope, triumph, and the miracle of medicine. Bristol-Myers Squibb Company.
Hello, Moto.
I have terrible writer's block.
Shut up, you pyromaniac. Extinguished novelists love emerald nuts.
8 runs, 9 hits for the Cardinals. 5 of those hits home runs. 2 runs, 8 hits, 1 error for L.A. Odalis Perez knocked out early. Jason Worth, a couple of hits and an RBI for the Dodgers. But the Cardinals 5 home runs, tying a Major League Baseball record for any postseason game. And there's Yency Brazoban. And you can see Brazoban, who only came up in July, and he did real well in his first go-round in the big leagues. He's big and strong. They picked him up as part of the trade that sent Kevin Brown to the Yankees. And in exchange, they got Jeff Weaver, but they had a nice column today by Bill Plaschke in the LA Times about Dan Evans, the former general manager of the Dodgers, whose team in most ways this still is his ball club. But Yency Brazoban, Dan Evans told a story about a scout saying, hey, this guy Brazoban looks great, try to get him. And so the Dodgers told him in the Kevin Brown, Jeff Weaver trade, Brazoban's got to be included for us to make the deal. And they got him, and he's been outstanding. They brought him up after they traded Mota, and in many ways he's been the guy that has filled the shoes of Guillermo Mota when Mota went to Florida.
And it's interesting. I mean, you made the point earlier, and I think it needs to be restated that, you know, new ownership came in, and that's, you know, why Dan Evans was, you know, exchanged, and they wanted to bring in someone else. They brought in Bill DePodesta.
And Marlon Anderson, the pinch hitter now. But we wanted to make sure we mentioned Dan Evans, who for 3 months this offseason, the club was in that state of transition. They were going to be sold, but negotiations were ongoing. They weren't sold, and Dan Evans had no budget and no real direction in which to go. And there is a story that as Marlon Anderson hits one into the glove of Cesar Izturis. So Anderson pinch hitting for Ray King is retired. 2 men down, and Tony Womack will come up here in the last of the 8th. But that he actually had a deal agreed upon with Vladimir Guerrero. But man, this was in the column today written by Bill Plaschke, and the story went on to say that, you know, Major League Baseball reportedly informed the Dodgers that, or informed Frank McCourt, who eventually bought the Dodgers, that they really couldn't make this deal because you know, the new owner with the financing and all that couldn't really support that kind of a contract. That fastball is in there for a called strike. Anyway, the column wasn't really about that, although that was a kind of a juicy little item. And I'd heard that somewhere else before.
Well, I'm sure the Angels are happy that they couldn't afford that to make that deal.
Tony Womack. The Angels will be playing in a couple of minutes, largely because of the contributions of Vladimir Guerrero. I mean, they had other new guys as well. Bartolo Colon won 18 games for them, but they wouldn't have overcome Oakland without this incredible final week that Bad Vlad put together.
And not only that, you have to remember they lost a lot of guys for a long period of time. Garrett Anderson was out, Troy Gloss was out, and Tim Salmon, you know, 3 of their big guns were out. They were replaced, of course, by Jose Guillen and Vladimir Guerrero, and they did the job for them to get them to that point.
There's Frank McCourt, the Dodgers owner, in his first year of proprietorship. His ball club's in the postseason. Congratulations to him.
And that's interesting. Where do you go from here? Yeah, man, it's going to be tough, you know, getting in the postseason every single year, but your first year you get there. That's quite an accomplishment.
Well, right now where they've got to go is game 2, and they need a win.
Yeah.
They need to come back to Dodger Stadium on the weekend, even up. And that's really the goal anyway, right?
Right. Split the first 2 on the road.
First 2.
That is your goal.
And of course the Dodgers will come back in game 2, and they'll come back with Weaver, the guy they got from the Yankees for Kevin Brown. 3-2 the count to Womack. Yency Brazoban. Big and strong, and he throws hard. 3-2. Womack with a pop foul that will go back out of play. October, 8 teams, 1 champion. The race to the World Series is on. Catch all the action.
By the way, you never told me who you thought was going to win the championship. What do you think? There's 8 teams. I'll give you one. Pick one of 8. All right, pick 2 of 8. Pick one of 4 from each league.
I can't do it. I've never been good at it.
Ooh. As they tell you sometimes, just pick one. You might get lucky.
Are you proposing a wager?
No.
Womack fouled out to the catch, because I need to go to my stat book if we're doing that.
All right.
9th inning coming up, 8-2 Cardinals.
Yeah, you're gonna be busy. Because right now, when you buy any 2 EA Sports 2005 games, we'll send you a 3rd game free. Download your coupon today at easports.com. Rated everyone.
That restaurant was great.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites.
Is that where you take all your first dates?
Maybe.
Oh! That girl almost hit me.
Women drivers.
Introducing the highly maneuverable Mercury Mariner.
Come on, Stan, laugh at what Erwin just said. Look at us, America. Look at all the fun we're having.
Sunday NFL Countdown. The hardest working pregame show in football. Sundays at 11 on ESPN.
My husband.
My wife is the undisputed, unrivaled
World champion, the king of procrastination.
I said, honey,
We need life insurance. And he said, definitely.
give me a second. Give me a minute. Give me a break.
A day later, he said, I'm calling today. And a week later,
She says, oh, I'm going to call them right now. So as usual, I just did it myself.
I called One Life Direct.
Call us now and save up to 70% on term life insurance.
Just describe your situation, and in about 5 minutes, you'll have your quote.
I got a quote in 5 minutes. Imagine that, honey.
Completing a task in 5 minutes.
$300,000 worth of coverage can run just $26 a month.
We want every family to have affordable life insurance.
One Life Direct can save you money, too. We've written over $90 billion of coverage.
One Life Direct made it so simple.
One call, one advisor.
One quick quote. Best part about it was,
I only had to ask them once.
Your life, your terms. One Life Direct, a Bank One company.
The Division Series, Game 1 of the National League Series, and it's been all Cardinals since early on. The 5-run 3rd inning, knocking out the starting pitcher Odalis Perez of the Dodgers. Now here is Jason Isringhausen. He is the Cardinals' closer. And first ball swinging, Milton Bradley, and Pujols gets the put out, 1 away. And again, look at a Cardinal reliever, and then see a guy who's real tough to hit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, here's a guy that, I mean, he's got save after save, got 47 saves, which is quite a few saves in 74 ball games. But not only that, I mean, he's a strikeout pitcher. He will strike. He's got a great curveball, good fastball, and a cutter.
Alex Cora, who drove in a run with a triple back in the 6th inning. He's 1 for 3. Game 2 of this series, upcoming Thursday night. Jason Marquis, a 16-game winner during the season, will pitch for the Cardinals against Jeff Weaver. And Weaver will, this will be a very important game. Weaver had kind of a slow start for the Dodgers, and then he got hot in the middle of the year.
Then he pitched really well last week against the Giants. I mean, he kept their team in the ball game, and the Giants, you know, they were able to come from behind, but he kept his team in the game, which is all you ask when you're starting pitching.
Womack, Cora out number 2. Red Sox Anaheim underway in Southern California over on ESPN2. Twins and Yankees later tonight. Game 1 at Yankee Stadium on Fox. The Braves and Astros begin in Atlanta tomorrow afternoon at 4 o'clock. And Joe and I will be at Yankee Stadium tomorrow night for Game 2 of the Twins and Yankees right here on ESPN. Tom Wilson left in there to hit for himself here with the Dodgers down 8-2. Isringhausen 0-1. Now since the bullpen came on, Calero in the 7th, King in the 8th, Isringhausen in the 9th. Those relievers have retired everybody 8 in a row, and no Dodgers even gotten the ball out of the infield against these 3 guys. The crowd all standing, they're waving their rally towels. Now it's 1 ball, 1 strike.
And if you're the Dodgers, you know, an off day tomorrow is not what you want. If you lose a game, you want to get right back out there and give yourself a chance to even up the series. So this also works in St. Louis's favor, you know, since they're winning the first game. It could be just the opposite if you lose the first game at home.
Waving the towels. A blizzard of rally towels here. Just at the knees. Strike 2.
Well, we've talked about Dale Scott. I mean, he has had a National League, old National League strike zone, and that's anything around the knees they used to call a strike. And actually, I like that. I mean, you like guys that are going to call the balls that are there. And that pitch is there calling.
We'll be joining the game in Anaheim at the conclusion of this one. The curveball misses. The game has begun over on ESPN2 in Anaheim, but we'll also be sending you there as soon as this game is over, as the game will switch back here to ESPN. Tony La Russa's Cardinals, 105 wins in the regular season, and they're starting off big time here in the division series, leading 8-2 in the 9th. 2 down, nobody on. 2-2 the count. Edmonds going back deep into center field. Still going back. Still going back. It's gone. A home run for Tom Wilson. And so the Dodgers are still alive. They were down to their final strike, but Wilson hits one over the center field wall to make it 8-3 Cardinals.
Well, he tried to get him with a high fastball. Wilson was able to get up and get the bat to it, and he drove it over the center field wall. High fastball, and he drills it. Edmonds chases it all the way to the wall.
Well, you got 2 of the best center fielders in the game going head-to-head here, Finley and Edmonds. But neither one have been able to quite climb high enough for those long drives to center field.
Well, that's why they put the wall there, John. They don't want you to go over there.
2 down, nobody on. Jose Hernandez. Well, unfortunately, nobody ever told Finley and Edmonds why it was there. They seem to go over it quite regularly. Of course, the Red Sox center field is a pretty good one. Johnny Damon. And Garrett Anderson, when he's healthy, covers a lot of ground, although he's not healthy right now for the Angels. Torrey Hunter's one of the best for the Twins out in center field, too. Meanwhile, in Anaheim, Boston already has a run in the first inning there against Jared Washburn. And we talk about great center fielders. How about Atlanta and Houston tomorrow? How many guys are better than Andrew Jones in center field? And Carlos Beltran has been excellent in center field for Houston. And there's ball 4. So Hernandez, the pinch hitter, gets a 2-out walk. This is the way the Dodgers play, though. Even in a lopsided blowout, they get something going in the 9th inning. They always seem to get something going late, although it seemed like it was too late in this game. Waiting until you're 8-2 down against a great ball club.
Yeah,
that might be a little bit.
That is a little late.
Too late, yeah. Now East-Tourist. The Dodgers with a chance maybe to leave a little calling card here for Isringhausen.
Well, it always feels good. I mean, if you bounce back, you just, you don't want to go quietly in any ball game, and especially in a playoff game.
And East-Tourist takes a strike. East-Tourist had 2 hits, a single and a double. Dave Duncan calling the bullpen. One ball, 1 strike to East-Tourist. Julian Tavares, a right-hander, up in the Cardinal bullpen. Pujols handles it. And the Cardinals go up 1 game to none. Woody Williams got the game 1 start with a lot of concern in St. Louis about the abilities of the Cardinals starting pitcher. Williams was fine. The bullpen was outstanding. And the offense was pretty much like they were all season long. 5 home runs. The Dodgers now with a must-win coming up Thursday night.
Well, I still think whoever wins the championship is going to have to beat the Cardinals.
Now, we're going to send you over to Anaheim with the Red Sox and Angels. Joe and I will see you tomorrow night at Yankee Stadium at 7 Eastern. Now let's go to Anaheim and Chris Berman.
And we welcome, thank you very much, John Miller and Joe Morgan and crew. Thank you very much, and welcome here to Anaheim. A beautiful afternoon. If you watched the end of the Cardinals win over the Dodgers, welcome aboard. We are Sean Figgin striking out against Curt Schilling here to lead off the Anaheim first. With 2 out and nobody on, Manny Ramirez a seeing-eye double. David Ortiz a seeing-eye single. 1-0 Boston. 21-6, Curt Schilling.
And an easy decision for Terry Francona as to who to start in game 1. Some people thought it would have been Pedro Martinez, but this isn't the first time that Curt Schilling has moved in front of a Hall of Famer. It was done 3 years ago in Arizona when Bob Brenly started Schilling instead of Randy Johnson in game 1. He just thought simply that Curt Schilling was better prepared and focused to get that first win for him. He did it there.
Well, Schilling this season, Boston in his 32 starts, 25-7. And from May 19th on, Boston 20-4 when Curt Schilling toes the proverbial slab. This is Darren Erstad, who is one of the proud and one of the old-time ball players of these